I'm so privileged to have this conversation. And of course, like you are watching it. And if you've just tuned in and you're like, what's happening over here? I want you first hit the subscribe button. If you're new here, I'm the host of the show. They call me Kwambokes. And today I'm so privileged because I'm speaking to somebody who, this guy, I don't think he's shy of anything. I've been in the limelight since I was 18, right? Done different things from being a beauty queen to TV to reality star to doing radio to being a journalist, right? But I think the one thing that this guy who's my guest jazzes me about, his life is not a secret. Like he shares his ups and his downs. If there's one thing I've always kept private, I've learned to keep private is my life. And every time I watch him just doing his thing online, I'm like, oh my God, it's going to bite you in the ass. And guess what? It did come to bite him in the ass. But the reason why he's seated here is because this man is one resilient guy. And there's so many things I could learn from him. So today, I reached out to Khalif Kairo. And I said, I want to have a chat because being you definitely comes at a cost. How are you?
Hi, how are you doing?
Good. It's so good to see you here, seated in studio. I mean, I've interviewed you before, but on radio in such a short time. Yeah. But I had to have this conversation on my podcast. Yeah. I'm going to start things off with Cairo. Are you from Egypt?
No, no, I'm Kikuyu. I'm a Kikuyu from my mom now. We are from Limuru.
Yeah. So Cairo is a surname?
Yeah, that's my mom's surname. Mm-hmm. Cairo means black. Mm-hmm. Oh. Small black. Ka. Iro is black. Ka is small.
Do people from Egypt know this?
No idea.
Yeah. Okay, all right. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Kawangware. Yeah, all my life.
Here in Nairobi?
In Nairobi, yeah. Tuko wapi? Tuko Kilimani.
Tuko just a stone throw away.
46, hapo, this is Agwings.
Yeah.
Panda 46, 30 bob.
Yeah.
Hadi Kawangware or 20 bob.
I have a question for guys who live in Kawangware. 56 inakuanga ya wapi?
So if you get to a place called, so there's a junction. Mm-hmm. So there's the 46 route that goes, let me use directions up. I think that is towards the east. Then ukifika hapo, there's a place called Congo where you make a right turn. And that one, uko 56, that's another hood. Imeenda kushikana na Kangemi.
Oh.
Yeah, imeshikana na Kangemi.
Okay.
So from 56, there's a valley, and then there's Kangemi.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that like I've grown up my whole life most around this area of Kilimani. Pana. Yeah. Nobody can say that about me. Inaitwa kusoma. Kusoma.
Mtu amelelewa Kilimani.
Wacha nikwambie. Do you know, funny enough, like I do get this question a lot, and when I was I think in my early 20s, one of the comments I'd meet a foreigner and they'd be like, where did you grow up? Yeah. And I'm like, this is my city. I'm born and raised in it. Just the same way nimeswa Kawangware. Mimi nimeswa wa hapa.
Kilimani.
Hapana. Nimetembea. So Kizungu I think nilijifunza from school and then from watching TV.
Hold on, ulisomea wapi?
Nilikuwa Westlands Primary.
Saskia.
Westlands Primary ni nini? Wacha.
You know there are these schools kama Westlands Primary, there's Lavington Primary, there's Kilimani Primary. You know those schools are a mixture. You have kids from Kawangware and you have the rich kids. So they're very interesting schools.
No, I
know this because I had a lot of friends in the ghetto who went to Lavington Primary, and it shows even the way they thought they kind of felt special.
Yeah.
Maybe they were. I
mean, everybody should feel special. Yeah. But then you get to school. I remember there was somebody in our school whose dad used to send for them a driver for break and lunch.
Hey.
Yeah. Na sayo tuko primary school. In a public school.
Yeah.
Hey,
but you know, there's public schools with very high standards. Like there are schools that you can't just wake up and admit a kid.
True.
Because I think it's the parent association thingy that comes up with
rules,
standards.
and
those
standards.
kind
And
of
also, I think the school itself, you're right.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy it. But Missy Rich Kid, by any means and standard, I'm not. Like,
middle class.
tulikuwa
Nakugrill.
tu hapa middle class tukienjoy. We're the real Kenyans. The real Kenyans. But it's not about me. And I'm seeing you trying to turn things around. So you know, I want to understand the making of Cairo, because one minute I just hectically discovered you on the internet, and you're a guy who loves to talk about the things that you're doing, you know? And like, as I made the introduction, the one rule when you get into fame is keep your life private, and then, you know, don't overshare. But you seem like a guy who's like so confident with sharing everything. But before we get to that, I want us to start from the beginning. Were you a smart kid in school?
I will say that because I always made the top 3.
Wow.
Whole of primary school. Yeah.
But unajua usema unaweza kuwa top 3 kwa shule yenye.
I'd say I was always, like, I was a guy who enjoyed reading a lot.
Yeah.
Even my mom used to say that. He likes reading, and every Sunday she'd buy a newspaper for me, the Daily Nation. Yeah. So I enjoyed reading, and I read broadly. Like, by class 6, I would take encyclopedias home and just read from Encyclopedia A, aeroplane, aeronauticals, automotive even. So I found a lot of joy in reading.
And where does that, I mean, considering, was your mom a reader?
Not really, actually. My mom is not really a books person. In fact, she was a shopkeeper. Ni mtu wa biz. My dad on the other side, my dad was also, alikuwa mtu wa biashara pia, but kafika mahali he like went into employment. Yeah, but I honestly don't know where it comes from, but maybe it runs in the family, because one of my eldest uncles, his name was Kairo. This guy was a principal, and for many years he taught at Alliance. Yeah, so maybe there was kuna hiyo gene mali ya kupenda kusoma, but I just think I'm just inquisitive, and I see it in my kids actually. Like, I look at my son, and this kid is very small, but sometimes you see him watching documentaries about rockets, and you're like, okay, this is interesting. So I was a guy who enjoyed reading broadly. Anything I could read, I will read.
That is so interesting. And when at that point, well, you're reading, because I'll be honest with you, like, I wasn't necessarily a reader until I think maybe 12 or 8 or 10, when I remember the first book my mom bought me. And it was for me. It was not a book that's in the house or a school book or a story book. It was a novel. And it you know, and that led to my journey with reading, because I don't know, it felt like special. It felt like a toy. It felt like something just for me. So then I just went into it, you know. But I was, at that point when I was reading, to be honest, I wasn't reading because I wanted to be anything. When you were reading, and you're also really good in school, what did you want to be?
I always wanted to be 2 things, either a lawyer or a pilot. Yeah. It's always been that. And I'd say mostly pilot. A lawyer, nile, because my mom was like, you know, flight school is very expensive. And so she'd always be like, pick something else that maybe we can afford. You argue a lot, so you'd become a good lawyer. And I love history, so it was always an option for me. But I realized courtrooms are not really what I wanted to do. I think flying is more adventurous, and I pursued flying actually.
It's interesting you mentioned courtrooms, because we're going to get into that. You know, and do you have siblings?
Yeah.
How many siblings?
We are 2. We are actually, so my mom had 2 kids, my big sister and myself. And one of my cousins, she lost her mom, unfortunately, and she came to live with us. So she grew up as part of our family. So I'd technically say we were 3. Yeah.
I mean, which is, you know, a normal, typical African thing to do.
Yeah.
You don't usually experience that. And what kind of relationship did you say you had with your siblings growing up?
No, very easy. My sister left home when I was, I think, 6. There's a big gap. Because right now I'm 28, turning 29 next month. So my sister is probably 37, 39. So nikianza kupata nikiingia class 1, my sister is like an adult.
Imagine.
So I spent, in fact, the parenting styles are very different. Even my mom even says that, my sister even says like, mom was very hard on me, but with you she was very like nonchalant.
It usually happens with that kind of gap.
Yeah.
You're like your
parenting styles change.
Yeah. And when you were growing up, because I really just want to get into the psyche of Khalif.
Yeah.
Like, you want to be a lawyer.
Yeah.
You're good with your grades.
Yeah.
Could you remember were you a troublemaker? You seem like you're a naughty kid.
Cheeky, yes, but big trouble I stay away from. Like,
what's big trouble?
I won't steal. I won't sneak from school. Now that is in primary. Like, what's the worst I'm doing in primary? Actually, I was actually arguably probably a model kid.
Really?
We never had many run-ins with my mom. Honestly, I don't remember major issues with my mom.
What would your teachers say about you?
I was always well behaved, actually.
Yeah.
Very few run-ins with the school. Like, those scandals, Jews are primo. Maybe apart from a love letter from a girl.
Because I was just about to ask you.
Yeah.
Did nobody crash on you?
No. Those ones are normal. That's the cheeky side. But again, nothing too extreme for a primary school kid.
Yeah.
I will write a letter, I'll tell her I love you, blah, 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 blah.
Did you ever get into trouble?
Of course, once in a while, in any Kenyan primary school, kutakuwa na crackdown. Teachers will be like, you guys are coupling too much.
Yeah.
But for me, it was nothing serious, like no intimacy and that kind of thing in primary. I was literally a good
Ulikuwa
kid.
unamwandikia love letters?
Sini zile tu, like, I like you, nini. But, I mean, nothing. Unajua kuna zile extreme. Wasikianga watu wako mtu yako class 7 amepata ball. Now that is like on the extreme side of things.
Yeah.
But he young word says, in fact, my mom used to say you're too shy. Yeah, my mom was like, you're too shy. Nikiwa class 6, I remember telling me, you're too shy. And it's true, I was like very reclusive. My character sort of changed in high school.
What led to that?
So high school, because now you see you're not with your parents. So you
were in a boarding?
Yeah, I was in a boarding. So I went to Dagoretti High School. Man, the bullying was crazy there. I think it just made me, I just snapped. And there's a version that I got in high school that this sort of like nothing can drag me down attitude I have. I got it from high school.
You were in ditches?
Yes. In fact, after 1 year, my mom was like, no, he should look.
Really?
I swear. She saw the change. One moment, meek boy, easy. Next moment, very rebellious, very, again, not the extreme things, but like, I'm more assertive. This is what I want to do. Yeah, so my mom is like, ishule.
Isn't that a good thing to be assertive?
Depends. If you're an African parent, wanasemanga uko na kichwa ngumu. If you are, now the way I raise my kids is like, I'd be like, okay, I may insist. So he's assertive. It's a good thing. I'm sure he can create boundaries.
Yeah.
Our parents did not interpret it the same way. It was like, wewe umeanza kumea pembe, And that explains why, as a society, wengi wetu ama watu tumegrow up tukiwa, even the way we think is very restrictive, because the way Kenyan society operates, we were meant to conform. We were not meant to question. We were not meant to push beyond certain limits. And that's why whoever in this society tries to push those limits, we are very quick to throw stones and drag them down. Because it was something that was, and this happens through the education system. There's a way it was designed to build employees, people who take instructions. You understand? We're not built to question. But you see, the sort of generation, sasa hii generation inakam, actually even start even with the Gen Zs. I was born in, I don't consider myself to be a true 100% Gen Z.
But aren't you turning 29?
Yeah, so niko hapo,
You're
as
the cusp.
us we are the confused elements. 1995, 1996, 1997.
Yeah.
I call us confused because there are elements about us that lean towards the millennial edge. Like mimi nikigrow up nikiwa tu hapo nimeona tumeenda kupiga simu kwa Telcom. Kuweka coins.
Aya, let me first find out. You know, there's a very simple way to know.
Yeah.
Do you unajua simu ya jamii ni nini?
See, I found them.
Unajua phone booth.
I remember them. You'd put a coin. At times you'd even call in a place ingine. There was an operator.
What's the lowest denomination of coin you've ever seen?
Lowest denomination? Kulikuwa hata na sumuni. Mimi nilipata sumuni.
Sumuni ni 50 cent.
50 cent. Rich kid.
So no, I just want to clarify kwa sababu kuna watu wengine wanaweza kuniambia ni 30 cents,
okay.
Right? So 50 cent is the lowest denomination.
Nilipata 50 cent.
Douglas?
Kulikuwa na 1 cent.
1 cent.
Yeah, there was a 1 cent.
Kulikuwa na 1 cent.
Yeah. Huh? There was a 1 cent.
50 cent. No, just tell me the one you found. 50 cent, right? It's 5 cents. Yeah, 5 cents.
Ilikuwa 1 cent, ilikuwa 5 cents.
Na ilikuwa color gani?
Was it kulikuwa na either bronze or silver? One of those two colors.
See, you're now a Gen Z officially, okay? Yeah, these are the things that make you a no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But my sister has a similar issue. She's a 96 born.
Yes, we are.
So yeah.
On one side, like we're not really Gen Zs because tuko kwa hiyo, as we even saw the last years of Moi's rule. So like to a certain extent, and na tuliingia class 1 na Kibaki.
As a millennial who's watching this, you feel like a grandfather, don't you? No, but I want to go back to there's something you mentioned about school. You said when you left primary school, you were meek.
Yeah.
You were humble. You were, just a nice, young, sweet guy.
Yeah.
Do you feel like if you didn't go to ditches, right? Because you mentioned how the change was very significant.
No, it was very drastic.
Right? And there's a lot of people, I went to so I tell you, usiwainita rich kid, right? When I was in class 5. So first I was in a private school here in Nairobi, St. Anna's, and then I went Shags, and for 2 years I was in a boarding school, class 5 and class 6.
Ushago.
Wapi? Kisii.
Yeah.
Keroka. Kwanza hata si Kisii. There's a place called Nyamira, like in Keroka. I mean Keroka in Nyamira, and that school, I don't care who you are, that school changes you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and boarding schools in Kenya, especially. Day school labda kuna ingine hapa Jamu sitaki kuongea juu yake, na sijasema ni Jamu. Musinijamie.
Yeah.
But there were so many schools here in boarding schools in Kenya that when people tell you their experiences, you're like, my guy, was I in an approved school? Right? You what would you say? Was it the bullying that changed you? Was it the lifestyle of this?
No, it's actually the bullying and the lifestyle. Because one moment you're living a life where, like, you wake up, mommy made breakfast. I didn't live too far off from the school. I walked to school, finish my classes, go back home. My mom and my dad they were never married. So I was raised predominantly by my mom. But my dad would visit. Takam. Nilize ni aje nini? Chukua hiso ama chukua 200. You buy yourself snacks. So it's a very sheltered lifestyle. And to a certain extent, that's why some people think I'm a rich kid. I get that a lot. But I came to understand is that despite the fact that I grew up in a very poor neighborhood, I was never really exposed. Under my mom's watch, I'd be lying to you. You understand? In fact, my mom would give me 60 bobs. Methodist. To go swimming on Sunday.
Yeah.
So you see, umeishi maisha very sheltered. Now, when you go to ditches, bro, there was this kid we were with in the class of 2011, Form 1. This guy, we used to call him Michael Joseph. Nickname.
Why?
Because the mom used to work for Safcom.
Yeah.
And the guy had polished English, bro. Like, as in, these guys are elite. Same school unasikia sijui director wa DCI mgani mtu wake yako huko. Bro, like, you're schooling with elites.
Yeah.
And for the first time, you realize that your mom is struggling. You see, in the ghetto, you don't realize that you guys are poor. Because everybody is the same. All kids come from the same neighborhood. Because me, I went to Huduma Primary, which was run, it was supported by missionaries. And shout out to a lady, a missionary called Dr. Jani.
Walione huruma.
It was bad. And the mission of mercy, you know, the MOM. Wezi juu hizi vitu. Who am I even? But watu wenye wamegro ghetto, they know.
Why wouldn't I not know?
You know mission of mercy?
I mean, it's a mom, it's a mom foundation, right?
No. There's also Samaritan's Pass. So these are some of the NGOs that use.
No, I know them. I know they've got a few of them in here in Kawangware.
Wanatumanga hizo vitu banuendo unafunga unapata tutoe. Good days. But anyway, so you see growing in that. Wewe unasema tu ni
this is normal. Everybody is like me.
Then you go to a school, bro, visiting day. Your mom is just coming chipo, maybe kanyama amefry hapo kando na samosa, and we're just chilling there kwa kashuka. And the guys with a whole freaking Prado, bro. They've come like a whole family. They're hot pot. You know, like it's a whole. And that's when you start realizing, bro, you're poor. Mm-hmm. And then you go like to you go to school, and then you just see the things the guys do in the weekend. Imagine if you are home, there's literally nothing to do. I'll just man my mom's shop. Msee anakwambia, you know, as we go to Junkie, your time kwanza junction ilikuwa in the nini. Remember guys used to go to hang out at Junkie.
Yeah.
And then KFC had just come. So there's this whole new vibe that I'm not about, that I don't know. Yeah. Insider. Remember those schools, kwanza kulikuwa na this rugby event. You know it was Saint Samuel. Something.
I know the
competition. You know it, eh?
Yeah.
So you go like to the. So imagine, manze, like you like in one moment KCP, boom. Next moment, bro, you're in another freaking world, and you're nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, ulikuwa index ngapi kwetu? Shuleni ilikuwa index number 2. You come to this school, bro. Wewe kwanza hata ndio marks zako hata ziko huku chini. Me I got I think 374 in KCP. The first guy in that year had 416, 2011. No, 2010 KCP ya 2010. Kitu kaya ama 428, I can't remember well. Bro, you check the other guys in the class, there's a guy with 410. These guys are bloody brilliant.
Yeah.
So you see, it first of all messes up with your self-esteem. Then there's the bullying. Yeah, so the bigger boys, they'll bully you. Umetoka wapi? Alafu wakisikia kwanza you're from a poor family. Unaishi wapi? Kawangware. Like there's that sort of classicism, you know. Wow. And it kind of affects you. So you'll first of all feel bad. And then as you go into the next class form 2, it inakuja sasa inakuwa ka rebellion fulani because you're trying to fit in. So you can get initially you una feel manze niko out of touch. Then in the process of fitting in, that's when you find yourself keeping the wrong company. Doing the wrong shit. And turning into somebody who cannot be contained. So so my mom was like, end of 2011, transferred me to another school in Kikuyu. It's called Kahuhuru. So I did. Yeah.
Wait, you were so like, but this is a national school.
Yeah, no, Dago was international unless imefanya national.
I mean, but this
it was an extra county.
Yeah, exactly.
Your time hata kuko na counties by the. Your time hata ndio
But Ditches was a good school.
It was a provincial.
Yeah.
One of the best boys provincials in Nairobi. Zikiwa na Upper Hill. Because remember we used to hate those boys.
Yeah.
And we were always competing with Upper Hill.
And your mom is willing to remove you from this one.
Because she's like, no, you. Because I think anaona niaje mtu yata survive shule. Forget about the fee. She was also really struggling with fee.
Yeah.
But fee is just a small problem. The problem was, I think and your decision ilikuwa poa sana. Because the village school my mom took me to was very laid back. It was very laid back. It's a village school. Hakuwa kuna pressure. Like shule hata ijaitwa mtu wa kwanza alikuwa na A-. So it's easy.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, that school really helped me.
How?
Yeah, so here's the interesting thing. You see, if you're in a school where unajua Dago pia prefects had a lot of authority. So it felt like a military camp. Kind of felt like prison.
What's the worst that a prefect could do to you?
Induction. Guys are called, mnapigwa nini, you know, you're taught about,
In 2011?
Hey, bro. Yeah. Kulikuwa na hizo induction nini, and then there were like those school captains walikuwa wabaya, you know. So ni shule imekuwa very militarized. You get
And I
it?
hear this is something that's, it's in the system.
It's in the system, yeah.
Because when I was in high school, people used to still talk about the same issues with not necessarily your school, but like a bunch of schools.
Yeah,
and I hear it gets
wanaitanga
worse.
hazing. Yeah.
It gets worse when
Yeah.
you get out of Nairobi.
Yes.
So I'm hearing you moving from Nairobi.
Yeah, to this smaller school.
Was it worse?
No, I just love the vibe of the school. It was laid back. Bullying, hakuna. This is chill. And yani tu ni shule tu relax. It's not really a top performer, but si ati ni shule iko na budget kubwa. It's a district school, but iko too easy. Like I enjoyed. In fact, the school had so much freedom. Ditches used to wake up at I think 4:45 mapema. Mlalo unasikia nini imegongo bang 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 mlango ya dom. Twende preps nini. You have to run to preps. You have to go to preps fully dressed up.
Yeah.
You get too much, man. And we go to this other school. Dude, we wake up at 6. Kwanza unamka cheki unamka 6. Piga preps hadi 7. Come back to the dorm. Now dress up and go take tea. By hapo ska 7:40 by 8 mkwedaru.
Utasoma sangapi? Like when are you going to catch up with the national guys?
But here's the thing. People don't realize.
Yeah.
Alliance. I've never been to Alliance. But Alliance was in our zone with Kahuhuru. We were in the same sub-county. Alliance had so many privileges for their kids. Alayo boys would check from school on Sato, go to Kikuyu, buy stuff, come back. Hot shower. Kuamka, hakuna pressure. And that's why they perform. Because it's not about the nini too much reading. Is you need sometimes to read and comprehend. Like you need to take it easy. Like relax. Same thing I tell even my staff. Like I tell them, look, me I won't come here nianze kuambia sijui mnafaa kuingia huku 8 mtoke 6. Nah. In fact, tell them, find ways of making your life easier. The more shortcuts you take without affecting the quality of the output, like let's say it's social media. I want 10 posts. Mi sijakataza kutumia AI. We tumia. Mi furaha yangu si kuona ukistruggle kutype, but tumia na ujanja. Isi compromise quality ya posts zetu. Like you get the point. So the same thing with some of these national schools. Some of them you find they're very easy. It's a conducive environment for learning. Polite. Ni kama umeenda hizi places za rich guys. The music kajaz hapo. Polite.
Keep it easy.
Excuse me, Monsieur Caro, this is the bill. Pigo bill wazimu hapo, but hata una pressure. Okay. We get the card. You know, like ni relax ambience.
Yeah.
But render places boom, kelele, nini chaos. You know, sometimes like good things sometimes nataka tu kuwe laid back.
Equally easy.
Yeah. So that high school was just like easy. In fact, nilindanga huko, I used to get homesick nikiwa ditches. Went to this school, nilimaliza term moja kazi sijachukua sick leave. Even my mom was like, hey.
You were having too much fun in school.
Like, nasoma, sawa. But I'm like, hakuna hiyo pressure mob. Hakuna hiyo pressure. It's like it's not a pressure cooker. It's just easy. Huko tu nini tunasoma pole pole.
I mean, there are people who would tell you that, there are parents who, if they hear that the kid is relaxed, then it means, kwani nimekutuma holiday, you know? Look, I love my folks. I'm out of school many, many years, right? Yeah. But me and my dad never used to get along when I was in school. Actually, I fucking hated my parents. Because I'm just like, how do you not get this thing is just not working, right? Yeah. School, I felt like teachers, just the whole environment was not conducive for my kind of learning.
Yeah, because the system was optimized. The 844 system is very flawed. In the sense that, as I said, it creates employees. If you want people who can do repetitive tasks very well with excellent results, give 844 people. But if you want people, wataka entrepreneurs, mtu anaweza think outside the box in a way.
Yeah.
You need to think about another system, and that explains why ukiangalia the way CBC is structured, it makes learning relaxed. That's why the kids are always doing funny things.
You ask the parents. They are not relaxing trying to do homework.
But you see, kwa sababu, the system is trying to tell you that we need to shift from this method of learning where we study for exams.
Yeah.
That's the problem. You understand? Because that's the problem. And I see this even in flight school.
How so?
You'll find that I've basically seen like two types of flight schools, like two types of doctrines of training a pilot, even in the States. Kuna kwangana moja inaitango, there's one that is very, very structured, and there's another one that is a bit laid back.
Okay.
Me, I believe if you want to train a very good pilot, the structured one, ile yenye unaharakishwa nini, you have to do cuts every week, you have to do nini. Me, in my opinion, I don't think it makes the best pilots. If you want a pilot who's like, anaweza make decisions, anaweza fanya vitu, like he's not probably not going to kill himself if things don't go according to a set environment. Take a flight school that is, there's a name, there's part something and another part. Zinakwanga two syllabus. Like the US has like separated them. So if you go to this train as a pilot, you're given those two options. Kenya, eco, but it's not formalized. Like, but you can see it with how schools handle their students. Like, me know schools in Wilson that are so strict. You have to do things like this. And other schools that are just laid back. Guess who I'd prefer flying? I prefer the school that is laid back.
I mean,
because the laid back, you're not fighting with the plane. Hey, just take it in, elewa. Hey, yeah, unaenjoy. So we were supposed to do 4 hours. Si lazima tushinde tukifanya hizi marutu, sijui nini. Let's do a cross country to Lamu. Bring your girl. Twende. We do the flight. You're learning, but you're enjoying. You get? So that is my type of learning. Like, easy. You're not forcing. But now the education system in Kenya, we were lied to that getting an A is learning. But getting an A is just saying that you are so good at memorizing, exams. You crammed the exams. But you see, if you just read, understand the concepts and get a C, but you know that concept so well, you can apply it 5 weeks after the exam. Kuna mtu amepata A, but 1 week later akumbuki. So see, ni lazima kukuwe na hiyo change. So these two schools are the same approach. DH's approach yao hiyo time, I don't know right now, but hiyo time ilikuanga lazima tusome nini, preps, we need to put the mean high. So this school, we are basically just working towards a mean. The other school approach here is like, okay, we have to get the means correct, but we also have to work on the discipline. You have to be a bit easy. You have to, yeah.
Balance.
I
like that. You come so heavy against 844 and you say it produces employees.
It produces people who do repetitive. Like, let me not, in the sense that, look, being an employee is not bad. But you cannot be, I'd say there are also two types of employees from a boss's perspective. If you give two people one task, there's somebody, you have to program them how they're going to do the task. Like, lazima umwambie, this is the route, and they become so bloody good at it. But the moment, again, you change the equation, let's look umwambia tufanye hii task hivi, alafu utoe one tool that he needs, hiyo kazi iendi. They're stuck. So 844 produces those sort of employees. You give them a task and you tell them this is how we do it. Watapiga. Now, on the other side, there's another type of employee who you just tell them, I need outcome X. They'll figure it out.
So how did you become the one that, makes those kind of decisions? Because in your life, from what we are seeing is, I mean, and we're going to get into your uni.
Yeah.
You're not a lawyer.
Yeah.
And you're actually an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Which means either you're breaking the mold of what you were taught, or something happened. So let's talk uni. You finished high school, which I'm hoping you passed.
Well, I got a C+.
You passed. Passed means you made it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not this one for tukubeba kwa shoulder.
Tulipitia system na.
Do you feel like if you stayed at ditches, you'd have chomwad an A?
I'd have been lucky kumaliza shule.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because it's not just about the grade.
No, it was just about the grade. There's also an element of discipline.
And you
There's
are
an
not.
element of... Yeah, it doesn't mean that I was a very disciplined guy in high school. In fact, I got suspended. I planned a strike. You're
so proud of yourself.
No, I'm just saying, man. Like, so you see, one thing about me is that I'm a person who... I think I've been an idealist to a certain extent. I believe in doing things in a certain way. And sometimes I'm one of those people who feel kind of bad if things are not done the right way.
Is it the right way or is it your way?
Yeah, I think, let me not call it my way, but let me just say that sometimes when you get exposed to very many things, you learn, like I say, I read a lot. Me by the time naingia high school, like, there are times I'm so bored I'm reading Kenya law reports. Just someone went to court. You know, all those things, ISO rulings, like, I'm reading that kind of stuff. I'm reading world politics. I'm reading a lot of history. What it does, it makes you question authority. And you see, when you're a teenager or you're an adolescent, sometimes kuna kwanga na hiyo element ya rebellion. You understand? It's just a seed, like, and at times you have very good things you're rebelling about. It could be ni kitu ndogo, but kuna that element ya you're questioning. You're like, no, these things, hii kitu ifanywe poa. Like, we shouldn't, hatufai kuwa tukifanya hivi. You understand? Yeah. So, long story short, we had a strike. I think it was, hata siwezi kumbuka hiyo strike ilikuwa nini. You know, ile tu upuzi ya high school. But I think it was something to do with mocks.
I'm sure it's about food. If it was not, because in Kenya when people strike, like
nimekumbuka ni nini. It was the deputy.
Oh, really?
It was the deputy. Au jamaa tu alikuwa mtiaji. Yeah, it was the deputy.
Oops.
Yeah, it was the deputy. Nimekumbuka.
Let's go to uni.
Yeah.
Because I'm so curious to know what it is that you studied.
So I actually joined uni by the way. Nilingia Zitec. Yote nimeikuwa uni. Sikuzi ni university. Nilingia college. I was doing BA. But I quit.
Why?
Because again, take note the time I'm joining uni, I've gotten my first job as a car salesman. So this element of, I don't do things na mutaratara, that's what we call it, kwa street. Me, I'm one guy who's always trying to innovate. And I'm always very, very scared if everybody is doing the same thing. Like, if I go into an industry, na nianze kuona everybody is doing the same thing I'm doing, I'm like, this is wrong. So mimi nikiwa form 4, everybody was talking about going to campus. Tenda campus. Kuna madem, kuna nini, kuna sherehe, you know, typical boy school. So, but mimi mbaini yangu yuko campus. I remember telling one of my boys, hey, bana, me in 2 years I want to drive a C-class.
And this was in high school?
Yeah. He's like, but it's impossible. How can you drive a C-class in 2 years? But I'm like, I don't know. I'll do business. So I'm trying. Sasa there's another nini mekam that hii kwenda shule na kwenda like structured school is not for me. Ni venye sija make peace nayo. But there's that element inside me that is like, no, we can't do. Hatuwezi fanya hii kitu hivi. We have to do it differently. You understand?
And why cars? Like, who had you seen?
My dad. My dad worked as a chauffeur. And my dad gave me a certain gene ya machines that I see in my kids, even right now.
My dad, a gene machine?
Like, no, like I'm
machine
like,
gene.
Ni gene, nika DNA ya kupenda anything. Like mimi, flying, driving, riding motorbikes, it comes so naturally. There's one thing my dad told me, Leo, me started riding motorbikes when I was 12. I also started riding motorbikes when I was 12.
Wow.
Yeah. So none of those, so there are things that are inside you because zinatoka kwa mzazi. Like, it's just a gift that you got from your parent. So because if you look at my mom's side, see what were machines at all. In fact, I think I'm the first pilot in the entire, like, familia mzima from my mom's side. No other pilot, I'm the first one. Ukiangalia the courses the other guys took, economics, engineering, but me, I'm like the machines guy, the car guy. You get? So I got that from a very early age. And what ignited my love for flying, I remember when I was 3 or 4 years old, we went to Wilson.
Okay.
And I remember, I don't know how I lost that photo, but there was this picture I took nikiwa kwa ndege, you know those early trips. Alafu nikiwa pre-unit, 2002 hapo. There was this song by a guy called umsewa ndio naingia Aces Arusha. TID. Siamini kama tuko wote. Now go watch that video. In that video, TID takes the controls of a plane. And he has a nice mama and they're flying on the clouds, and that video ignited something so powerful in me.
Really?
I swear.
Okay.
And the plane in the videos is a ndege we call a caravan. Funny thing right now, sahi tukiwa hapa, one of the planes that Jetman is marketing and managing is a caravan. So like unaona, yani there are things that zinaingianga kwa subconscious yako, and life has a way, I think it's a way of God talking to you, because me says like hiyo ngoma ilifanyanga this, imagine in a 5-year-old kid you're watching this guy is cool, huyu msee manza na fly ndege, you know, and then unaona hiyo ngoma kwa TV and you're like, I wanna be that guy.
You know, I completely understand what you're talking about, because I tell people that pretty much everything I've done, I said it when I was a kid. I knew I was going to be on radio. I knew that I was going to retire at 40. I said it, and so I think you're right. I think the way I would describe it is, because I'm a spiritual person, is that the future you sends you messages. Because it's all you. Your whole, for us, time is such a long thing. But for us who are going through the life thing, it's just one thing. So it's possible to send yourself messages from the future.
And I love
which is probably God.
And because there's a point. So anyway, I quit nilienda campus Zetech.
And then you quit.
But I just went for like, hata sikumaliza one semester.
Why do you think you were doing BA?
You know, because I love business. I love business. So
where do you think you got the business side
from? My mom. Me started running my mom's shop nikiwa class 4. At 8 years. I could run a small shop. Alone. My mother alikuwa anaenda ushago na niacha hapo like mchana. Na anapata nimeuza, mwambia, this is what we've made. Nini? And she'd always say like, he never loses anything, he never steals anything. True. Even now I'm a very, very, very straightforward person. When it comes kwanza pesa and everything, very, very straightforward.
I want you to hold that thought, because we're going to come back on that. So I'm here at this point when you're leaving Zetech, you have skills that only your parents gave you. It's not skills that you're learning from school. On this side, your mom has trained you in business, and I'm really, I always talk about this thing about African parents and, you know, bringing your kids into your business early, because, you know, a parent will tell you, it's just a shop, I'd rather they read, but you don't know that you're picking business skills from that shop.
That's right? A tragedy with Africa.
And then you saw your dad and got the love for cars from your dad. And then now you're at Zetech. I'm sure your mom at this point is just saying, oh my God, thank God I managed to get him to uni. And akimaliza graduate, sasa apate kazi. And then here you are.
Because at that point, you know, I got my first car sales job when I was 18. I have sold cars for, say, niko 28.
How did you get your first car sales job?
I tarmacked. Nilimaliza high school, November 2014. In like a month, I worked at there was a well-wisher who really supported me during nikiwa high school. We used to go to the same church. This guy used to have actually still has a bakery, into Moody Cakes. So I worked at Moody Cakes. So used to, our church, nilikwenda World of Church, it's in Kawangware. So kulikuanga na hiyo, there was, it's a church in a very vulnerable area. So there were programs even within the church where you could sponsor a kid. Because ni church, it's a Baptist church. Na iko place yenye you have rich guys coming to church and you have very poor guys. Like, and I see that in a lot of churches. Niko in the car sitam ya Valley Road. You probably have a guy maybe who's coming from Kawangware, but you have a very rich guy who lives in Kilimani, and they meet at this church. So there was one guy in that church who really, really supported me. And over the hata nikiwa high school, he like, you know, could chip in, because my mom was really, really doing badly. Even my dad, like, I don't know, my high school years financially were the worst for my parents. Like everything was just going south. Anyway, so when I finished high school, there was a part of my brain that was like, you need to find a job. Because you need to support your mom. Because your mom is struggling. So when I finished, we used to live in the same hood with some guys who used to sell cars. So one of those guys, nilikuwa namuonanga anakuja home na magari. He used to be a salesman. Anakaa home anakuja na gari ingine, and the younger bro was my boy. So I got that idea that I could actually try and sell cars, because I was like, I know I can sell stuff. Sinuuzanga sigara kwa shop ya madhe. I know like najua magari. I've been reading car magazines from nikiwa sijui class 6, class 5. So I know very much about cars. And from there, when I finished high school, I remember the guy's name is Johnny Akinembe. Huwezi patata kazi ya magari. You need to have a driver's license. So I worked 1 month at Moody's, 30 days, 29 or 30 days. Got paid 300 shillings per day. After 30 days, nilikuwa nakaa 9,000. Hiyo pesa yote, driving school, seniors. You know seniors? Yes. Seniors is and life repeats itself. Ndakuja hapo bado. Hiyo pesa yote imeenda wapi? Seniors academy. Nilienda nikafanya driving yangu hapo. By January nikapata license. And I started tamaking. Very few showrooms sikwenda hii gaya yote. Knocking. Only one guy gave me a job. His name is Sam Dwati. That guy, he used to run a showroom hapa Valley Arcade. I think he just looked at me. Kashanga, you ulimaliza high school lini 2 weeks ago. You sure you can sell cars? Yeah. He offered me a job. I stayed with Sam for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. That is where now... Sasa, actually, ndio niende campus ni CDF ya Dagoretti. Ilinilipia.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I want us to roll back to, you have a driver's license.
Yeah.
And I'm curious, why didn't you look for a driving job?
One person who was really against me taking a driver's job was my dad. Do whatever you have to do, but don't be a driver.
Why?
That's my dad.
Why
Because my dad was a chauffeur. My dad was a chauffeur for many years. So he was like, nah, you're very intelligent. You deserve better.
Yeah.
So when I got the car sales gig, he was like, then I kaona, when I did my first sales, kidogo paki kaanza kuflow. I was like, okay. You have my blessings.
Let's talk about your first paquet, because I'm hearing a high school boy who's just gotten a license.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely, there's nothing you know about life.
Honestly, there's nothing I knew about life.
So how are you going to sell a car?
No, it's not hard. You just need guidance. There's one lady who, I don't know, this lady just listened. She just liked my vibe and bought the first car from me. We delivered that car to Nakuru. Let me shock you. When the son finished campus, like last year, guess who offered him a job?
You?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
My first client, my first ever client, wakununua gari. The son, almost 10 years down the line, we offered him his first job.
And at that point when you made your first sale, how long had you worked there?
3 months. That's why I tell guys the power of persistence.
Yeah.
You have to be resilient. You see, even right now when this year, and we know we'll come to that, as I go through my hardest tribulations, I know it's a price I'm paying. That's why I take it with stride. Okay. This is me telling God, nipitie tu hapa sawa. I know you have a reason why you're doing this. Let me tell you something. Before I made my first sale, 2 months or 3 months, nilikuwa nakosa hadi fare kwenda job. I used to walk. And from Kawangware to Valley Arcade.
Okay, technically it's not too far, but here's my question. It's far.
But imagine, like, my mom is like, even like this, hii kazi inaendaje? Yani she's even mocking me. I swear. She's like, inaendaje? Okay, fanya aje, ndakupatia 20 bob. Enda chukua mati kufikishe, kurudi, utakuja mguu. And some of my friends made fun of me. Natakuonezi pattern. Jamaa jifanya nikadila. Kuna mtu anaweza pia anaweza uzua gari na mtu wako 18 years. Okay. Me still kept showing up. Until that lady's name is Monica. Venye Monica tulipiga hiyo deal ya kwanza. Believe it or not, 3 more opened up in March.
Oh, wow.
2015 sasa. 10 years ago.
And, I want to go back to keep going back because when you talk to, I've hired a couple of people, Gen Z, and, especially like internship, somebody will tell you, there's no way I can keep coming here every day, and you tell them, look, you do this thing until this happens. And of course, at that point as an employer, you're just trying to see, the level of resilience, because at the end of the day, Missy, I'm not the big telco that I just have a bunch of seats that I need to fill.
Yeah.
We need to see the work. And resoundingly, people say, why would I work for free?
Again, let's go back to the education system. It gave you expectations. The education system told you, you go to school, study hard, get good grades, get a job, and live happily ever after with the girl of your dreams. There's no point where, tell me one point, shule nakwambianga, it's okay to struggle for 2 years without seeing any results. Hakuna mali kwa box.
Mi nafikirianga Salu umeshaona mwalimu wako na hizo viatu zina lean back, ushajua huko nje kuna kuanga.
Hapana, but you see, tukiwa high school, who believes they can be a teacher? Ask everybody in that class.
You're right.
Wataka kuwa nini? Actuarial scientist. Wataka kuwa nini? Neurosurgeon, bro. Wataka kuwa nini? Le pilote.
That's true.
So, so, bro, mi nilitamak. Nile, you just show up. You just know that God has a plan, and you just show up. Faith and resilience. Keep showing up. Never give up. Weenda. Mi nilienda hivyo hadi one day kajipa. Can I shock you? There are so many people nimeconnect na jobs za magari. They always give up.
Because look, there was a time, and I think it was around that time when you were getting into cars, that, I don't know, there was like an influx, everybody was selling cars or something like that. Like it seemed like a way to be able to supplement your income, right?
Yeah.
So people started importing cars. Even your friend would be like, yo, I'm selling cars. I'm like, nigga, I am buying a car from you. What you talking about? Right? I mean, not in a bad way, because, but then, it's not easy to offload and to convince someone to it's not easy to be a salesperson if it's not your grind.
Some of the best things in life take time. You will put, like, and here's the funny thing. One day you will blow up, and people will call you a fraudster, people will say you're a scam, but nobody knows what you've gone through. Hakuna mtu anajua. Nobody knows that. That is how society is wired. Tuko wired that ni quick riches. Save the nini is forex. And the forex will tell, not all of them, I don't want to attack forex people, all due respect. But I'm just saying, like, a lot of them sell this idea that bring your forex. Kesho ukichapa forex deal moja GLE, pap. Bro, let me tell you, it doesn't work like that. You have to pay for the blessing. And nimekam kurealize life has two ways to it. And this is a spiritual law.
Okay.
Maybe they might cook me, but this is a spiritual law that I firmly believe in. The bigger the blessing, the higher the price. If you wait upon God to reward you, you will pay the price before getting the blessing. If you go to the other side, because people do shady things to get money and fame, you'll get the blessings, pap. But later on, when you're old, when you're sickly, you will pay the price. And you will never recover.
Oh, wow. I think there's so many people who are watching me right now are like, I mean, if I'm paying the price when I'm 80, it's fine.
No, the problem is, it doesn't come at 80.
True.
Observe a lot of people who've done shady things with their lives. They pay the price. Most never make it past 50.
Really?
Yes. Na wengi wakipita hiyo 50, either you're in jail, either you're running away from cases, either you're just going through so much stuff. Na at your point, hauna nguvu. You see me today, even if you tell me like you're going to jail me for 3 years, okay, what's the worst that can happen? No, you jail me for 3 years. I'll come out and I'll keep fighting because God has still given me the strength. Imagine when you're 50. Ndiyo health imeanza kukunini. Ndiyo nini. And unajipata sa hapo ndo unapigwa jail time ya 5 years. I've seen it so many times. You see a lot of these people, mtu alifanya vitu very shady, but in their later years they live such a pathetic life. They're always in and out of a hospital. They're always they're always getting stressed by their kids. Me, I see it so many times.
To be honest, I'm just sitting here shocked because me, the ones I see, like the proceeds of their lifestyle. Like I'm telling you, my grandpaps passed saying one day umtu atalipa. You know, my mom said it. You know, she's still here, and I'm still here telling my nieces umtu atalipa siku moja. You know, I just see people succeeding.
No, that is what they show you.
Yeah,
but they don't show you the struggle,
the pain.
They don't. They don't. People out here have. You know, I keep telling guys like, there are people huku town who do very crazy things, like any other, like they just live a very bad life, and hasa wanaka wako fiti kabisa, but the moment you get to know them, these people are lost. They have issues, they don't enjoy life, health inawapeleka mbio, but when you see them, they have the big titles, they have everything.
Yeah.
You know why? Because along their path, they didn't do things the right way, or they relied on a bad source for their wealth and their influence. And when the price comes, ile hiyo bei ikikuja, hiyo blessing inakufuata na vitu nyingi. Imagine today you're a billionaire, but you don't enjoy your billions because there's somebody who wants to kill you. So you're always driving around, mtu hata you see the way I drove in, no gun, no bodyguard, no tint. I don't care. You understand?
Yeah.
But there are guys like literally akitoka kwa nyumba, he has to switch off the phone because anajua anatrakiwa.
Yeah. Like there's no comfort with the money.
Yes.
But here's me wondering, all right, so from an 18-year-old to a man who has is renting out jets, is selling, you know, high-end vehicles, got an office next to JW Marriott. Like, how does somebody do that in 10 years?
It's a whole process. And the funny thing is, let me shock you. Right now, people see Jetman. Guys are like, maybe ameboeka na magari, now he's doing planes. You know the concept behind Jetman, I wrote it in 2017.
That was 2 years after uni. I mean high school.
Yeah. It's here. I still keep those notes. I've never even, like, ata sijai, like, I've never even, inetangwa how do I put it? Like, I've never even edited them. Like, those notes, the way I wrote them in 2017 or 2018, ndio ziko tu. Ndio all things aviation. 28 October 2017.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I wrote the blueprint in 2017. Sai tuko 2020.
This is 8 years ago.
Yes.
And you're saying you want hangars for sale,
Yeah.
aviation jobs, aircraft maintenance, insurance, all things aviation.
Yes.
What made you think about this?
Because
at that point you're selling cars.
Yeah, I'm selling cars. But there was always a voice that spoke to me and told me, you are not at your level. You are unafaa kuwa. Like, kulikuwa na voice ilikuwa niambia ni aje, cars are your stepping stone. Hujafika. Don't get lost here. I don't know what I get. Most of the money I made, even selling cars, like the way you'd say, like, I put away my savings, I blew them all on flight school. So I finished my commercial pilot's license ground school last year. Right now, as we do this interview, I'm literally polishing up my final hours to have the license issued. But you see, it's a journey. I joined flight school in 2019. 2025, ndio sasa nakwambia, sasa I've achieved that dream. Una get? So it, like, how do you even explain it? Like, it was something, it is a vision that God puts in you. And here's the interesting part. You don't move at your own pace.
Okay.
You move at his pace. So nakwambia, there's a time I had no interest in flying. Ilikuwa imenitoka, like nilikuwa, now the cars were making so much money. You know, you're making good money, you have a girlfriend hapo, you know, nini, your time ata.
What's like, good money in selling cars?
I mean,
like, what's from a sale?
If you're making selling cars and making at least $500,000 a month, 300K going up, that's good money. In Nairobi, tafuta hata nyumba, 50K or 40K. Your time was when she Indigo used to pay 27,000. Their mans are making like $250,000, 300K. The only, like, major liability I had was just a baby mama, and you are like, yeah, you know, like, you know, because you like literally have to take care of it.
No, I know liability is actually like, just a business word.
As in, like, yeah, you know, you have to look at it from a business perspective. Like, the only liability I had, si nilikuwa broker. Hey, nilikuwa tu broker. I'm like, I'm making my comfortable 300K. the only liability hapa, like the only person when like ule mtu anaweza fanya uluzu usingizi uko like, you know, I need to sort out this woman, like I need to find a way ya ndio naisha liability. You have to look at it like that because she's your responsibility to a certain extent, and your child. That was the only liability I had, you know. So I'm like, okay, baby mama, hakuna kitu ingine. But remember that voice niambia wewe, you're starting to become comfortable. So what do I do in 2019? I signed up for flight school. The kidogo money I had, yote nilitisha equipment US, it's like 100,000. Nikaenda nikalipa ground school, it's another 100,000, and I paid a couple of hours. So now we've started a project.
What? Sorry, when you say equipment, what equipment? You have to buy your own plane to go to school?
Yeah, see, there's expensive equipment. You have headsets. It's like 20,000.
Headsets?
Apana, they're special headsets.
I know.
Yeah, zile za nini.
Wait, you buy your own headsets?
Yeah.
I thought like they're usually just there.
Apana, it depends.
Yeah.
At a commercial level, now when you start flying with the big boys, now you find that now this is a nice plane. It's probably a $10 million plane. Inakuja na headsets ziko hapo. But ile tu, yani tu ile common sense to any pilot, everybody has their flight bag. Flight bag if ikosa headsets. You need to have special calculators, you know, calculating wind, nini, those things.
Ile scientific yenye watu wanatumia kwa nini?
Sasa sisi tunakuanga na yetu. That is optimized for doing hesabu za ma degrees, ma latitude, nini. There's a special name for that calculator.
Okay.
And then there's also, you need charts. There's like a whole sectional chart inatoshana hivi.
Hizi zenye watu wa traffic wanauzanga map?
Hapana. Yetu ni kubwa. Yetu has every single hill you can think of in Kenya. Iko hapo. Ni kubwa. You even have like to fold it in a special way.
Because you need to know, because people run into hills.
People crash into hills. You need to know where the rivers are.
And if it just appears, it'll be too linear to take it out.
Because now flight school, hakuna GPS. Especially for zile basic, ile ukianza ile what we call the private, before you get your private license. Hapo it's manual 1920s flying.
Hawezi tumia Google Maps?
Ni hata exam. Ni tunaenda Mombasa. Nini hapa? Chart hapa. Navigation log hapa. Na the special calculator and your instruments.
But lakini munaweza tumia Google Maps?
No, you can.
You can, right?
Kwanza helicopter pilots are notorious for that.
Yeah, because it's such a wonderful technology.
No, you can, but now the problem is, the way Google Maps is designed, here's the problem. There's a special Google Maps for pilots. There's like an app, let me show you.
Is it the one that shows layers and stuff?
Yes. Yeah. So nika Google Maps, but it's like special because it has terrain. You know, Google Maps gives you very. So this is like.
I see the yes, I love it.
And you can like play around with the layers, choose what you want to do, roads and borders. So
lakini this is not advice because inaweza hang.
It's not even about hanging. Like true basics. Just need to have your flight basics.
So if I see my pilot over here, like
we don't say it's bad.
Tense.
Ni poa. Iko fiti. It's actually now once you're out of school, having a backup. You find guys, the plane has its own equipment, but the guy has an iPad or a phone. You understand? Yani umejiekea redundancy. That actually shows you're a good pilot because you're investing in redundancy. But at the training level, kwanza ile basic, you should not be using apps. You need to learn how to navigate like it's 1920. You need to look at a map. Naenda Kisumu. So if I go to Kisumu, I'm going to cross 6 hills. And if I find myself nilikuwa nafaa kuona hill pale nione hii side inamaanisha I'm off track. So I need to correct.
Damn. Okay, because kuna watu wengine hata natumia the same route kila siku lakini lazima akuwe na Google Maps
which is bad still. Wapatanga like unaona kikiomba because you need to know, like just have good situational awareness. Like just understand. Like even right now anywhere in Kenya if I got lost. Provided nezo na Mount Kenya or I can see Ngong Hills. If I see Ngong Hills, I know I'm coming to Nairobi. If I see Mount Kenya and the Abadeas, I know you're heading. Kwa kichwa yangu na compass in a line. But the guys bana you fly with ikitu kizima you're in a lot of trouble.
Oh my god.
But you see hiyo ni shule. So now the assumption is once you graduate
you should
so before you go to school you're given a list of equipment. So you need the big map. That's like 15 Gs. Headsets it's like 20 Gs, but the headsets even for like 200 Gs if you want to buy. Nini ingine you need to have the uniform. So that's the equipment, a flight bag.
Uniform unajishonea man.
See, you need to get, there's a company that does the shirts.
What you talking about? Kuna beshte yangu by the hata mimi niko na pilot outfit.
See, hizo
complete with the
hizo baadhi yenu bana zimeshono funny.
I'm the captain of good vibes.
No, like they are professional pilot shops that sell, you know, like good Like you see kwa uniform I will see pilot because pilots have a standard.
Oh, really?
The bars have a standard.
Yeah.
They symbolize 4 bars is what they symbolize, 3 bars is what they symbolize. Kuna there's there's like kuna symbolism behind the uniform.
Aha.
You understand? So when you start flight school, you have to buy the kit. So yo 2019 nilikuwa nimeget comfortable sana ile like
So now here you bought your equipment, you booked yourself in school.
Yeah.
You have this voice that's telling you
Yeah.
need to get to flying school.
yeah.
Were you planning to be like a commercial pilot, or like what were you planning to do with this?
My goal has always been to own an airline. Yeah.
But I don't think Branson has a flying license.
It depends. There are a lot of people who own airlines, and they're like a lot of airlines I see in Kenya, the founders are pilots. It's the same way. Let's go back to the car story. Remember mimi nikikwambia like ndio niingianze kuza magari, I needed to know how to drive cars. Same thing. Right now, if you come to buy a plane from Jetman, nikikwambia kitu, I know what I'm telling you about. Nikikwambia Combox ni aje, jet iko na capability, we can do this and this. You're more likely to trust me if I'm a pilot. Plus it's my passion. I enjoy flying. Like mimi take away everything. Chukua kila kitu. Put me in a bed sitter. But niachie pilot license yangu and the ability to fly. I'll be a happy man. That's all I need.
So you have to at least at this point go like, you move from selling cars, which is something functional.
Yeah.
You are a broker. And now you're saying, I'm going to sell planes.
No, you don't. You actually don't move away. They're more or less selling cars and selling aircraft. Believe it or not, there's a lot of similarities. Buyers are all the same. But here's what I've discovered. The bigger the plane, the heavier the vehicle, the easier it is to close the sale.
Oh, how's that?
Because at certain, like now, let me give a very good example, like with aircraft sales. If you're buying, like the planes we advertise, $30 million, $20 million, those crazy planes. Hakunanga time wastage. Do you have the plane? Yes, I have the plane. We want this. Please send the specifications. Okay, please tell us who you are. We are company XYZ. I tell the owner of the aircraft, company XYZ, nini, tumewapatia specifications. We've gone through the specifications. We want to buy the plane. The process is very structured. No money even comes to us. It's you put the money in an escrow account. We will just go, now the owner of the aircraft, we will do a contract that says, Combox, now you're the buyer. Combox has said he's offering $15 million for the aircraft. We as the sellers, as Jetman representing seller X, we have this deal, we have approved it, we have agreed. Now Combox is going to deposit $1 million in an escrow account in the US. Maybe a company like, there's so many companies that offer that service, but the popular one is called Aerotitle. You put that money there. And once you do the deposit, Combox undertakes that they will inspect the plane on date XYZ. Akipata ndege iko fiti, haina mashida, atalipa amount yote.
Yeah.
So you come, you inspect, you pay, done.
Yeah.
Hatusumbuani, sijui ati nini. Like it's very, like it's a very regulated industry. Hatukulani kichwa.
Do you ever just find somebody who's called you and say, "Mimi nataka kuona ndege leo"?
No, but so it doesn't work like that. So this is when I show the time wasting aspect hakuna. Because before you come to view the plane, you've gone through the specs. They are well presented. Your engineers have seen the components for the aircraft. By the time you're meeting to inspect the plane, you've put your money in an escrow account somewhere. So there's your money on the, it's not really on the line, but umeiweka. So the owner of the aircraft knows you're not wasting our time.
Yeah.
You know you're not wasting time because you put money in an escrow account somewhere. So the moment you come and view the plane and you're like, okay, iko fiti, ni kurusha the final deposit kwa escrow, sit kudelivia ndege, escrow to release do. Simple. But try selling a guy a 2 million car or maybe a fast car ya 1 million. Uone venye atakukula kichwa.
Si kwa sababu ana pesa ya kucheza nayo. Hii ndio the only investment ako nayo.
Sasa that's the problem. They'll waste your time. They'll come, they'll view the car, mtasumbuana, kutakuwa na a lot of back and forth. I don't like this color. Okay, sawa. Sawa, let's agree. Please do an invoice. You write the invoice, 2 million. Kesho, nimepata gari place ingine waliniuzia 1.990. Ameacha jia 10k. So mi nilirealizingi on this smaller vehicles.
Yeah.
But high-end clients, a guy who's buying a G63 worth like 50 mic. You have the car. Yeah. Send the specs. They're good. How do I pay? This probably is 15th car. For him, gari ni... In fact, the guy is giving me business right now. Like some of the biggest deals I've done in my life. Believe it or not, nimefanya mwaka.
Wow.
With all the chaos, eh?
Yeah.
Because these guys, mbona unasumbuana huko na watu. Anyway, I know you uliniuzianga gari 5 years ago. Now I want to buy a nini, maybe this vehicle. Naona ni 20 million. Naweza nitafutia 19 million. Yes. Okay, sawa. Now, a guy who's buying a car worth 1 million is reading 10 blogs what they've said about you nini, before making a decision.
It's just like, do I want to put my 1 million? This is spiritual. This 1 million is spiritual.
so naona at advanced levels of business.
Yeah.
Money talks.
How many cars did you have to sell for you to say, okay, now I need to start selling planes? How many cars do you think you sold in your life?
Let me tell you
so far.
I have no clue. I was telling guys last year, like when now this whole issue started. Last year we sold 300 cars.
Last year?
Yeah, 1 year. The issues we had were over less than 10 cars. Nataka uone that delivery rate ya 97%, but the things that crucify you, wasi wana kuattack vitu zinaenda south, is like 1% or 2% of what you got wrong. You get the point? So, all along mi nilikuwa najonganiaje. Hata sahi ati ndondoke. We are still in the industry, you understand?
Yeah.
But no, I don't look at it from a Kenyan perspective. Now I'm already thinking global. I'm already thinking, if we did 300 cars in Kenya, what if we did 30,000 cars globally? How do we get there? How do we automate the system to get there? How do we remove all this bullshit huku katikati? That's why I'm telling you, mimi nikiona kila mtu anafanya chenye nafanya, and that's why we've always been trendsetters in the industry, because we think outside the box. Kai and Karo, or even Jetman, the way we do our thing is different. Nobody, even if you just go and look at the website kaiandkaro.com, nobody in Kenya has such a website.
And actually, who is Kai and Kairo?
Kairo, Caroline. Kairo, me. Caroline, my sister. Kairo, patriarch of the family. Caroline, the matriarch. Yeah.
So this is a family business.
It's basically a family business.
So I want us to pause on business for a bit, and I want us to switch to how I got to know you.
Yeah.
You know, you sound like a guy who's super focused. You sound like a guy who, at this point, is just all about the money. I'm going there, I'm grinding, right? How did you get involved with social media?
Because social media is the big... Look, Quambox, we are...
Were you using social media to get your clients initially?
Yes. So before I got here, of course I didn't go to a directory. Nakumbuka zile directories za Telcom, unakumbuka the ones that had...
Bro, mi nisha kuambia the oldest coin in the country. And actually, fun fact, the 10-cent coin, the 5-cent coin isn't the oldest coin in Kenya. Hit us up in the comment section if you know the oldest coin in Kenya.
So nilikuwa nakushow, where was I?
Magari, right?
Social media. I was amongst the first people in Kenya to market cars through Facebook. 2015. Let me shock you. You know what guys used to tell me? Ni upuzi. Sasa unafikiria hii Facebook watu wanaekaga huko. Hakuna mtu anaweza nunua gari hapo. You know?
Yeah.
IG, we set the trend. Because you need to always innovate. Like you need to be a step ahead. And this is where most businesses kind of get it wrong. Like, people assume things on vitu they are a passing fad. Remember when TikTok came? It was all about dancing. Now you see heavy corporates, likes of Kina Coca-Cola, doing adverts on TikTok.
So your initial platform ilikuwa Facebook?
Initial platform yangu ilikuwa Facebook. Then Facebook, then nikakuja IG. Then nikakuja Twitter. You get? So you need to keep moving with these platforms. Because what's happening, we are now literally deep in the digital era. Clients don't have time to go walk in. There are people who've closed big transactions. In fact, even the last order I took, import, the last order, which is like a few days ago, those clients have never come to the showroom. Ukimuuliza ofisi yangu iko wapi hezi kuambia. Niliona hii gari online. hiyo ndo bei, mtadeliver, send the contract via WhatsApp, sign it using a signing up, send it back, account details ndo hizo, weka do. Japan, I send the money using my phone. You get?
Yeah.
So we are living in a digital age. So you need to move with the pace.
So you on social media, are you dancing with your cars?
No. I normally do I try to make it a sort of a balance. I enjoy telling stories. Like let me use the example of what Jetman is doing right now. So one of the biggest planes in the fleet that we are like working with, Sai Jetman, is a plane called the Caravan, the Cessna Grand Caravan. So the Caravan has a street value of like $2 million. It's a $250 million shilling plane. So you'd expect that we are going to market it at golf clubs, nini, that kind of thing. That's where people think those clients are. Sindio?
Yeah.
But you see, mimi kama say the last post I did was leo tukifanya maintenance. So I did a TikTok with the engineers explaining how the engine works. So it's a very mundane post. Kwa hiyo post ijasema ati sijui hii ndege sijui ni how much. No, I've just said this is how the engine works. Now I'll attract two sort of people from that. Like I'll attract two sort of demographics. There's a guy who's just interested in planes. Itakuja kwa feed yake, ataenjoy kuwatch your video. There's the 1% that tomorrow needs to get to Mombasa in the morning na ameachwa na KQ ama amekosa ticket Jambo Jet. Atona, but this guy, he's saying he like naona kwa profile yake anashinanga na ndege and he flies. Okay, let me call them. Maybe they have a good deal on the plane. Boom, that's how you make business.
Oh wow. You know? But how did you, I mean, you were online promoting your business.
Yeah.
But then something shifted at some point where you started to talk about things that were not necessarily cars and not necessarily jets. And you became a personality. At what point did that shift happen?
Because my marketing style is very personal. So again, let's go to my Insta right now. I'll do 5 posts about cars, but I'll also post a meme. You need to be relatable. You're not an AI robot. You're a person living through Nairobi. Kuwa relatable ni nini? Sahi nikitoka hapa, niende nipate mtu rafiti. I'll take a photo and post online. And it will generate all sorts of reactions. Now, this is not a inatonga easy story nimecraft kwa kichwa yangu. I'm just showing you my life. Nimetoka maintenance, I did another story nikidrive gari yangu, and once I'm done with this podcast, we'll take a selfie, we'll post. You know what you're doing? You're building an audience.
Yeah.
And over time, this audience will start understanding your personality. Some will like you, others will hate you. It's bound to happen. And now what normally happens is you end up building a brand that really, really relies heavily on your persona as the founder. And we live in an era where it's those companies that shine. A company like Tesla, most valuable car company on earth, probably only gets maybe na karibia tu na BYD. We know Tesla because of Elon. Microsoft, who comes to your mind?
The founders.
Bill Gates. Steve Jobs, Apple. Alibaba, forgetting the guy's name. Jack Ma. You get Jack Dorsey, ni Dorsey ama ni Dorsey? Twitter. You get like I just mentioned a name, you already know the company. We are living in that age. That aura ya founder is what translates to sales in a company. Because modern day consumers, especially the younger brand, are not just buying billboards. They associate with a brand because of certain traits. You need to sell a lifestyle. You get?
Yeah.
You need to sell a lifestyle. And that's even at Jetman, there are companies that I can't work with. They have planes, they have everything, but we just can't work.
Wait, so there are people who come to you and you say, nah, I can't sell you.
No, there are people you try to work with.
Yeah.
Easy hack. It can't. And there are guys, and they're like, it's like this company, atapiga biz. You understand? Like even on the international scale, like, because now we're also doing leasing of very huge planes. Like, if you look at the guys I deal with, even like now internationally, even in Europe, in the US, there's a connection. Before we started doing business, kuna vibe tu zetu zilipelekana. You get? So we talk, so they kuna vibe na kuna, and there are companies that will not touch me. They'll be like, "Oh, kwanza tuliona alikuwa na makesi." They won't give me business. And it's fine. You get? So you need to be you. Forget na hii ndio kitu ina mesara celebrities Kenya. Don't try to look good for the corporates. Don't say, "Hey, manze, can't post this joke." Because unajua wale wasendo utupea do. You're already becoming a slave to them. You do your own thing. The people who like you, the people who like the real you. Unaona vizuri kwa podcast yako. This is your podcast. There's no editor who's going to come in. Hapo kwenye amesema hivyo tuta-edit. No, you're just doing your own stuff. You understand? And when you do that, that's I think where you enjoy yourself more. Do you even make more money? So mimi, when I put out my persona out there, and when I put out my life out there, when I post my stories nikifanya vitu zangu, kama Sunday tulikuwa na kina Foina, did a video tukichill na yeye huko. I know the people who are going to be irritated. I know, and I know the people who are going to be happy. But you see, all of you don't have to like me. I don't need all of you to like me. I just need a small percentage that believes in me, loves my vibe, and is willing to give us business. Na tunasonga. Huwezi furahisha kila mtu. Ukijaribu kufurahisha kila mtu, you lose everyone. That's why you find, again, not to bash Kenyan celebrities, but you look at a lot of Kenyan celebrities and the posting style, it's the same. The vibe, it's the same. Hakuna flamboyance. Hakuna aura.
Unasema Kenyan celebs hawana aura?
Sijasema wote. But majority. Like, one of the Kenyan celebrities who has such a big online persona is Eric Omondi. Why? Eric does crazy shit. But you know why? Kwa nini advert Eric kushika? Unasa mbaya. Because he doesn't give a hoot. Yeah, he's just doing him. Like ni yeye tu ana Diamond. Look at Diamond in TZ. Like, he's just doing his thing, man. You know, bad boy. Like, but you have guys in Kenya who are like, I'm trying to conform. You could conform. Because maybe I'm able to read through. And I understand that a lot of people do content trying to appease corporates.
It's a business.
But here's the thing. Corporates are not the only people who can buy. Look at it from this particular point. We are seeing a shift in the Kenyan economy. The companies doing the most online are not proper corporates. Tuingie kwa tour industry. Bonfire ni kampuni tumeona ikigrow. Like, as in tumeona, like, hatuwezi sema ni kampuni ni ya majuu. It's basically a homegrown company. But wanapeananga gigs. Like, you get the point here. Like, huwezi compare, like, Bonfire na Diageo. Diageo has a whole, hata najua ukiwafanyia adverts, they have a whole checklist. But if you are to do an advert maybe for Bonfire, watakwambia ni aje, like, this is the nini, like, so you get market iko. There's also a guy, kuna mtu leo sasa anaanzisha startup yake, and he needs a comedian who's going to do a skit for them. Nyi wote mkikuwa the same, if all of you target the big companies, if all of you are targeting Safaricom, you see what happens is, unapatanga along the way, vitu zinakuwa watered down. Because you all trying to conform to the same clientele. But the moment everybody's just doing their madness, everybody's just being them. You don't care if they cancel you, you don't care if whatever they say about you. So,
to be authentic to a T.
Yes.
And being authentic comes at a price.
Yes.
Right? And you've just mentioned a bit about it. But I'm listening to you speak, and I noticed, we have veered so far away from the businessman and the pilot in the making and the salesperson. Yeah. And now this person is shifting to become a celebrity. And you spoke that it came from a necessity of selling what it is that you are selling.
Yeah.
But then people started to resonate with your lifestyle.
Yeah.
What do you think about your lifestyle, especially young people really resonated with?
I'm just me, man. Like, me just do my thing. People call me a celebrity and I always correct them. Say, me, I'm not a celebrity. Me, I'm just a guy who's famous. For all the wrong or good reasons. kwa Boxpod nikwambia kitu, mimi sijaji consider kuwa celebrity, like hata sinanga standards. Let me just say it, like I'm not one of those guys because I've interacted with again Kenyan celebrity and people have standards for days and you're like this is upuzi. You know, siwezi enda hapo juu brand yangu bro. Like juzi I posted juzi Twitter nilipost nikikula chap, you know, my favorite meal by this chapo beans.
That sounds like a Kawangware dish.
Mi napenda chapo beans bana. So I posted and guys were like, jamaa alisota nakula. I'm like, okay, kukula chapo beans ni kusota. So maybe like tumekuwa condition that eating KFC is being rich, you know, like, and you're like ukienda kwanza maju, these are like the basic, you know, a McDonald's meal is like the basic meal you'll get, you understand? So basically like mi sinanga false standards. Kuna day utaniona na Posha, kesho unaweza niona kwa Nduthi. Sato rest assured, you'll see me on my motorbike in Ngong Hills riding. Na naweza ito flight Sunday niambiwe ni aje Kairo. Jetman, kuna flight hapa. Kuja Monday flight with the captain because I've not gotten like command on there. Like kuja hapo ukae kuja I teach you a few things and I'll post. So me, I'm just living my life. I don't fake. I don't. And you see those people wanashanga mse ameenda jela amefanya nini. Like mi naishi tu life yangu. You understand? I'm just I'm like I'm not competing with anybody. I'm not trying to set false standards. I'm just living my life. What I can afford. If I can afford to go to Japan, I can afford to go to Japan. I had to go to Japan because sasa hiyo ni kazi, you know, nimeitwa. But you see, realize now a lot of Kenyan celebrities want to put standards. Sijika ni concert kunafaa kuwa. I see that with celebrities even all over the world. Kunafaa sijui kuwa na towels, sijui ngapi. Sijui siwezi kuja hii place.
Wait, as an MC, towels you kwanga saluna sweat.
Oh.
Exactly. So so it looks very strange when you're on stage and there's drip, you know, so when you're, because performing it takes
but I'm bringing up conditions where I've seen like international cases, the towels have to be of a certain brands.
I mean, if you can push it, what you gonna do? If they can afford to give you cotton laced Egyptian cotton towels, what you gonna say? No.
Me, let me tell you, like me, the perfect idea of a good life is just my motorbikes, a very successful company maybe, and like a jet, and I fly myself once in a while, go fishing, and just spend time with my kid and wife. Like, imagine that's... Yani, kuna vitu zingine mi kwa life yangu by then ni bonus. Like, I just look at them as a bonus. And nobody can come here say, may meet Kairo akasema as G, he's going to... tusipige pictures, it's so easy, yeah? So
in your words, that's the standard of authenticity. So you feel like people fell in love with just you being... the US you, right?
Yeah.
And you're not shy to go back and forth with celebrities online, because I remember, especially when you got into trouble, a lot of your past tweets with interactions with people surfaced, you know, and then we start to see. Do you feel at any point, because now you are not only just showing your life, you're also showing, now I'm dating. This is who I'm dating. This is how, this is, you know, and you've mentioned about setting standards.
Yeah.
You are setting standards for a lot of young people who are watching you, selling cars, you know, jet setting, you know, traveling the world. For you, it sounds like I'm just sharing my life.
Yeah.
But to somebody else, it could be, okay, this guy is showing off online.
But here's the thing. Let's use one example. So there's like one trip I really like, going back to show you how selective people are, especially online. There's a time I did an India trip with one of my exes. So we flew business class. Okay, not a big deal. When we were in India, we went to eat street food. That cost me 50 shillings. It's online. The next day we were like, let's go and check out a certain place.
Wait, you ate street food in India?
Yeah. The videos are there. And I got bad diarrhea.
Can imagine.
Yeah.
You don't need to tell me. I've seen the videos.
Yes. So but we went and ate street food.
Yeah.
Like tulikuwa place dingy. You get the point?
But Cairo, how do you not see that you're eating street food not in Kawangware?
No, 'cause I want
but
to try
you've
it.
traveled to another world.
No, like I just needed to see like level cholera ya huku. Can it like do something for me? You know mimi mtu wa ghetto. Nataka kuona hiki pindu ya huku. Can we tunaweza ngangana nayo? And I like told my ex, look, twende tukule street food. And I posted the eco online.
But you don't think that's setting standards for somebody mwenye hajai panda ndege?
Okay, that's such an, okay, let me give you a very good example. Tomorrow I have a flight in the morning. Just a basic test flight, nothing much. So that's no work. I'll post it because I need someone to come and rent that plane. That's the only way I'll pay my rent. Now, is that setting a standard?
That's work.
No, but you see, they'll say, hey, when I was in prison, I used to see the post, angalia alikuwa shinda na mandege, sahi ako jela. You know, Combox najaribu kukwambia, like kama last year when I went to India, I didn't go to India on holiday by the way. My mom was sick. I had to fly my mom like to India. And we were with my sister. Nobody saw my mom in any of the videos, but my mom was literally ile yani it was bad. But me niko tu na post vitu online. You see, people are very quick to judge. So whoever saw it was like, he's just wasting my and India kufanya nini. You get? But much as pia nilikuwa hosi, I also went to India to find out more about electric motorcycle manufacturing. I went to Hindustan Aeronautics. They make aeroplanes. They currently have a tender to do a plane called the Donia. And they've been selling that plane to a lot of militaries. And I see the potential of that plane, maybe selling it to the Kenyan military. So you see, kuna mtu tu anaona tu msee anapost tu akiwa India. But haelewi, same way juzi nilikuwa Japan. I didn't just go to Japan for fun. I went for business. And I was pushing a very serious deal that went through. So, but for kuna mtu anaona, msee na watu anazunguka India, Japan is just wasting money. So people are very quick to judge. Because much as you say I share everything, I don't share everything. There are very many aspects. Even there are so many transactions and things that Jetman will do that never see the face of social media. So you have to be very like selective. But when people bash you, like let's go back to Twitter. Oh, umse anaringa anaongelesha wase mbaya. They don't show you where they attack you. You see, Twitter is banter. Twitter tumeshi kubantariana. Like people banter you for all sorts of things. You understand? But when now you're going through trouble, remember Pia, the sort of problems I had, there was an element of paid bloggers meant to smear my reputation.
Oh, really?
Yes. Okay, why don't you see them in court nowadays? See, juzi we went to do the withdrawal. Why weren't there all the cameras that were there the day I was arrested? Why? Kwani walienda wapi? The same client who was filming me nikiwa na watu wa DCI nikitishiwa. Why wasn't she filming judge akisema the case has been dismissed, umerudishwa pesa yako, kesi imeisha? Why weren't they filming?
We're going to come to that.
Yeah.
Would you say, actually, two things I wanted to ask you.
Yeah.
As we go into now your love life,
Yeah.
because you brought that to us.
Yeah.
Would you say that from your experiences that fame is a double-edged sword?
No, true, it is.
And then understanding that, would you understand why celebrities almost all seem the same? Because there's a way you want to just protect yourself.
From what?
We'll get to that. But then also just listening to your story, because remember, all this is because of selling cars and getting now to your next venture.
Yeah.
Would you say you flew a bit too close to the sun when it comes to fame?
No. Once we commit, we take off.
Like that. So
look, we want to build a big company. We want to sell cars around the world. I want my name to be out there, and I want people to know that. Forget about the drama about girlfriends and what. You know, people just like, you know, people are selective. Sasa nimefanya video hapa niki explain ya watu jet engine venye nafanya kazi. Kwa Box hii nikifanya video hapa nikikushika itapata $250,000 in one day. Hii video ya kitu sensible, mambo very serious hapa. That one will only get like 50,000 views.
it's just human nature.
Exactly. So humans will tend to amplify.
Yeah.
But wachana na kelele. That's what I keep saying. Forget about the noise. Forget about what they write. Forget about what the bloggers write. Forget about what gets the engagements. Focus. That's why despite everything, our God is still faithful. Bado tuko hapa juu, tumefocus kwake. We know where God is taking us. So, along the way, you are allowed to make mistakes, bana. Ni normal. You will make mistakes. You understand?
Yeah.
There's like the things I do, I'm like, okay, maybe hapa nilifanya makosa. This was a bit too much. But I don't regret. Why? Because I had the option of staying in the cocoon, uoga, hey, naogopa titoto ataniambia nini. And I'm like, here I am, throw your stones.
Could you maybe, before I ask you my next question,
Yeah.
say one thing that you look back and you're like, I could have handled that maybe a bit differently online?
I think I engaged far too many people on Twitter. Nowadays, I don't. Squeezy, I'm like...
you would do it differently?
Squeezy, no, I don't.
Yeah.
Because I realized, me when I was doing my banters on Twitter, I thought it was all fun and games. Until I ran into trouble. And the same people we used to banter each other, kimchezo, were the same people who are throwing very big rocks with the intent of burying me. Hapo ndo nilijua, my friend.
You're alone.
You're alone. You're not Jesus. Bro, fanya kitu imekuleta hapa. Kama ni biashara, you piga your biz, post your things. Don't prove anything to anyone. You just live your life. You don't have to banter people. Oh, wamekuita conman, sawa. It's fine. Wacha wakuona ukiwa tu uko where you just doing your thing. The people who are like, he'll never recover, he's dead, who ameisha. But here we are. Mungu bado ametuweka hapa, you understand? So looking back, I realized you don't have to respond to everybody. That is the biggest mistake I did. You don't have to respond to everybody. You just live your life. People will judge. Me, your time nilikuwa na try kukua perfect. I'm like, no, but kwani mnaniita wash. You know, guys even used to say I'm wash, yeah? Umse analaunda do, umse amekuwa na mama, yeah. So it used to really offend me. I was like, no, but you guys, can't you see the effort I'm putting? Now life imenipiga kiboko. I've realized, my friend, just live your life. Let them talk. Oh, he's gay. It's fine. Oh, he's a conman. It's fine. Whoever will give you business will give you business. Na mwenye hata kupatia. Even if you came wearing a robe, a white robe, with a halo around your head, if they're not giving you biz, they're not giving you biz. Stop proving shit to these people. You just live your life.
So for you, it's all about the biz.
It's all about the biz. I look at my persona, pia kuna element ya ministry. Now that is the spiritual side. I believe that I can't stay silent. I made a pact with God in 2019. I remember telling God, bless me in such a way that watu watakuwa wananiangalia wanajua unaweza bariki kijana mdogo. And let me tell you, God kept and still has kept his part of the bargain. So I feel like me ni influence wa Mungu pia. Me ni influence. Like I need to show people it's fine. You can get challenges and you can overcome them. Not through our power, but through the power of the Most High. You get? So by being out there, by being outspoken, by just showing your life, by just a lot of kids tell me I'm their role model. Wengi sana, many, I meet them every day. There are many even tell me, I joined flight school because of you.
Oh, wow.
I swear, so many of them. You inspired me to pursue my dream. Now that makes me happy. Why? Because kwa hesabu ya Mungu, kuna kazi nafanya. You see, it's not just about buying a Gulfstream, having a yacht. Nah. When you die, God will also ask you, kazi yangu, what did you do? Oh God, I inspired a generation. Okay, maybe we can allow him. You know, so you have to look at it from a spiritual perspective. Look, we are in a society that worships materialism. We are in a society that tells you have to be like lazima ufanye vitu mbaya. Bro, wezi omoka kawe si mkora. These are things we hear in Kenya nini. Me, I want to show people, no matter what challenges you go through, my friend, kama Mungu ndio uko naye hapa, there's nothing you won't overcome. I believe that will be the biggest win. Even if like skunda kufa na Mungu aniambie ni aje, by the thanks to the effort you put, thanks to the things you put, uli inspire watu 1 million and you broke some certain generational limits for the youths of Kenya. Because some of these things are spiritual. There are limitations na kwanga zimewekwa. Afrika hafai kupita hapa. Mtu hafai kupita hapa. The moment I'm able to break those, the ones who are following behind will not have they'll be saying, hii kitu si big deal. Kairo did it. Why can't we not do it?
I love
But you
it.
see, kama a whole generation haina role models, what are we doing?
So you consider yourself a role model?
No, I don't think I'm perfect. Role model is a very heavy term. But I consider myself as a person who is trying to influence the youth to take a path that is anchored on God. That is one message I always insist. Every interview I go, see, it's not by chance, because they believe this is ministry.
Yeah.
When I sit here and tell my story, when I talk about my mistakes, when I say that I'm not perfect, when I say, but there is a God in heaven, mwenye amenitoa hii level, amenileta hii level. I believe it will inspire a whole generation. And people will start to believe in God. Mi nakushow, like, we are literally, mi mwenye I grew up believing, watu upata pesa na Freemason at one point, if you are high school. Why lie?
Hiyo ya Kikuyu.
Sivyo ndio tulikuwa tumekonditioniwa. Unaambiwa tu bro kinge Illuminati wewe unakafunga. But it's lies. Hizi vitu ini gospel shetani ameka huku nje. The devil does not have anything. Every wealth you see on this earth is actually from God. Wealth yote inakwanga ya Mungu. What happens is, because watu wafikiangi destiny zao, evil people divert those resources and keep them to themselves. So, but God again says, kazi ni mob. There's a lot of work that needs to be done. There are generations that need to be inspired. There are people who need jobs, but the workers are few.
You know, I want to ask you one more question before I get now to the next part, which is I want to talk about your love life.
Yeah.
So you're a Baptist.
Yeah.
Do you go to church?
Every Sunday.
Where do you go to church?
It's a very small church. You need to our God's Grace Ministries in Rongai.
Rongai?
Yeah, in Rongai, yeah.
Okay.
3 years now. I only miss church. Like, this weekend is my son's birthday, so I might miss church. But all the other times, never.
I like that.
Yeah.
Like, I used to go to church, but it's not about me. Let's imagine you're in church, right?
Yeah.
And the pastor said he's going to pray for people.
Yeah.
And to bring your prayer point to them, right? To bring it to the front. Let's imagine we're praying for a wife, because you look like a guy who's definitely a lover man, right? You're a romantic, which means are you a romantic?
What's a romantic?
I've seen you wine and dine girls, man.
Yeah. Like, honestly, me enjoy.
Yeah? Do you love?
I honestly really feel so good when I treat a girl right. Like me enjoy. Like, and some people will be like, una overdo kitu, but I'm like, no. Kama sahi manze, kaa sahi niko peke yangu. Siwezi enda dinner. That sucks.
Is it about the treating of the girl, or is it about being in love?
It's just company. Like, okay, like let me explain. Let me just give you my there's so many things I do alone that ukiwafanya peke yako ni boring. Like, let me give you a very good example. Like tomorrow's test flight. So kesho we have a test flight to. This is a legal requirement. Okay, forget about the test flight. Let's say tomorrow we have to position a jet to Dubai. We've gotten a request for a jet in Dubai. So here is an empty jet with 6 seats. And legally, that empty repositioning leg, you're allowed to bring passengers on board. So imagine you're flying, mko tu hapo wawili. Huoni kiwa weird because you're like, hii kitu by the way if I had company here. Like, and this could have been more fun. You understand? Kama when nilienda Japan, nilienda peke yangu. Like, sometimes I'm like, these are niko place naweza taka kupigwa picha skali but I'm alone. You understand? So sometimes I live through moments that for me are just normal, but sometimes niko like, ingenasa sana if I had a partner.
So what I'm hearing from you is that you want a partner, but you're not necessarily into love.
No, I believe in love. No, because look, for you to envision spending time and making memories with someone, you need to be a believer in love. You need to have a connection with this person. Otherwise, that's the only reason you can't just go randomly and take any girl and go. Because you'll be like, okay, this is just another stranger. But if you have a special connection with someone, and then you start building towards those small memories. Last week we drove to Nanyuki. Tulikuwa tunafanya kazi, but we enjoyed. Next week, I have a solo flight, maybe I'm delivering something to Amboseli. You wanna come for the flight with me? Let's go. We are making memories. Weno twende reggae. Sawa twende. You go, you listen to reggae, you enjoy. Kwanza leo ni Thursday. Leo kwanza sikia reggae. Yeah. Yeah. So you get like for me that is like I think that is like the most beautiful thing.
Like you want to make memories.
Like mna make two memories. See, hata si kula na kitu. It's not even about sijui flexing sijui nini. Me for me is just making memories. Like, and sometimes you make memories with the smallest. Sometimes mi kwangu naona zikiwa vitu ndogo. Kama juzi like there was nilikuwa naambia wase like Sunday was like you guys were saying Kairo aliisha sijui your madam, but I'm like dude, last year was my most disciplined year in terms of relationships. I never cheated in any of my relationships. I was I really really tried to be a good man. Yeah, like it was like me by then nikiangalia rap sheet yangu, there are women if you gave them this seat like from 3 years ago they'll be telling you he was such a womanizer, was such a bad boy. But like last year, for me in my books is like one of my best years. I was like, these two relationships didn't work out, but I got to see a side of myself that I've never seen. I never cheated, which for me is like, that's actually a good thing. Like hadi mi kwa kichwa yangu najipea a pat in the back. But nikiangalia even from a cost implication, I'm like, I'm barely spending anything because I know how, like I know the things that are taking my money. Like this flying thing, unaenda kuangalia vitu expenses are flying. Bro, you look at the money you're spending on a plane and you're like, shit, this
is too much.
Hii pesa hata ningepeleka msichana wenyewe hata Diani angefurahia, but it's being taken by your companies. You look at the money that you're paying to keep, like rent in a month. Business premises were paying like rent of over $250,000 every month. So so like you look at it and you're like, but now sasa unaangalia now I've biashara ziko fiti, now I need a partner. And even go back to the Bible. You notice God did everything, had Adam set up. Then he was like, the boy is lonely. You get? So it's basically the same kind of thing. Like that. Everything is going nice. Mambo iko fiti. I just need a girl, like we just go somewhere, you're chilling in Jamaica, watching the sunset. This time I went to Jamaica and I felt bad. Ilini hurt. Because I was alone.
Do you not meet girls outside? Nimesikia machali wa Kenya hawajuangi kukatia mademu kwenje. Unajuanga tu local.
Not wako nenda funky. But anyway, tukiwa high school.
Yeah, that was what funky was for.
Utanga mabriza.
No, but funky ndio ilikuwa inakufundisha how to step out. Exactly.
Si ngumu.
So ukienda Jamaica
nilienda solo because literally I was not dating anybody. So this time I went to this art club, very nice in Montego Bay. And I saw such a beautiful couple that was seated ahead of me. And they were just holding arms, sipping cocktails, watching the sunset over there. And I was like, okay, nakuanga najifanyanga gangster, but this is actually pretty cool, And for a moment, I felt like, by the ikitu, like, that was in 2023 November. I was like, actually, now it's time for me to, like, find a girl, a good one, and we just start something beautiful. You understand? Yeah. People overblow it, but Mimi, at the basic level of my soul, I'm just looking for a company too.
So let's describe this.
Yeah.
We're at the pulpit. The pastor has called prayer request.
Yeah.
And yours is this woman because a boy is lonely.
Yeah.
A boy wants to be able to enjoy his come up with a girl.
And you say, let me tell you something. People mistake love for sex. It's not just about sex. It's about friendship. If you sort of live the lifestyle I do, you can get sex from so many women because women see the sort of lifestyle you live, see the sort of car you drive, and a lot of chicks get excited by that kind of thing. But there's a level you get to as a man once you're done with your humanizing face and you realize this is vitu ni vanity. Like it's very pointless. You realize there's more to life than just sleeping around or just having a good time. There's like companionship. You understand? So that is nyapo. It's not just about like ukiniuliza why I dated my 2 exes. Siwezi kwambia ati like it's just about looks, no. It's because genuinely these are people I'd spend time with and enjoy. Like honestly, and you notice I never trash talk them in any interview because I believe they're amazing people. Like the relationships didn't work, but as in these are 2 girls like hata sema kama like by the kuna time tulikujanga hapa na nani and we had an amazing conversation and it was fun. Those are the things I remember. So sometimes it's not even the sex or it's just the moments. Tulipiga hii drive, it was fun, we were listening to this mix ya Grouchy and it felt good. Na mimi hiyo ndio kitu sijai get na generation yetu. Like maybe I'm just boring because we sexualize everything too much. It's just about sex, you know. It's just about sex. And that's what I'm saying, like, people don't get this whole concept. So when you treat a woman right, you see men telling you, you know, you're simping, you're weak. But I'm like, bro, I'm just enjoying myself with my babe. I'm not doing this because I need anything from her. You know? Like I'm not doing anything. In fact, most of the year last year was celibate. Me shocking. Wow. Yeah. I was like, yeah. So missing his relationship because I'm after sex. Nah.
Do you know it's so funny? There's another guy last week who told me, he said sex is overrated.
Yes, it is. It is. Me have been celibate for like a very long time. I won't disclose the exact time, but and now you look at things and you just get clarity and you're like, in your pussy. Now, and you know when I made that decision? Before last year ianze. Nilikaa chini to 2023 and I realized, okay. You see me for the longest I never posted any woman. For 10 years nobody knew who I was dating or anything. Nothing. Not that I wasn't dating or didn't have my scandals. I had them. I had my face. Ya kufanya vitu mbaya. Ninakwambia there are women I've dated before would sit here and they'd paint a very bad image of me. But in 2023 nilijita mkutano. And I was like, hii kitu ni pointless. I can't have all the women in the world. It's just pointless. And I'm not making this decision because I'm broke. In fact, we are at the height. Ile like wasikianga ile like tuko optimum like you know. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want any more of this shit. Let me just get a girlfriend, treat her nice, we'll make content with her. Done. So last year mimi chenye mnaona it's just me being a good boy. Like it's just me now deciding acha nisikie venye kina Kabi wanasikianga na kina Baa because these are good couples. Like you see them, you see the way they interact and you know they work as a team. Watch you know me I've worked with Bahati kidogo, not like kuna project moja ama mbili tumefanya nao and you have to admire the chemistry. I've also worked with Kabi and the Jesus family. You like unaangalia chemistry yao so wako nayo. It's something like when they say marriage works, it does because you look at how they do their thing and it's beautiful. You understand? But look, we live in a society where shetani aliwaonyesha you have to be a fuckboy, you have to sleep around with 100 men because that's the cool thing. You understand? And that's why every time you try show people that, you try to influence people towards the direction of dating, treating your woman nicely, from both ends, you're going to get flack because you're advancing a notion that should not be advanced. There are spiritual powers that hazitaki notion ya marriage iende. And marriage is a very powerful institution. It is the basic unit of governance.
And this is something you want for yourself?
Yes. At one point, mi siwezi kwambia ati ndakaa hapa ati niseme ati no. At one point, I want like, let me even tell you, I actually used to joke that I'll retire at 30. I swear. Because me, like I want to get to a point where I'll just chill, fly, but not fly for money. Just fly because I enjoy flying. I have my businesses running, maybe a company that I own 1%, 2%, that's doing very well. And I spend the rest of my days raising my kids, going to random places with my wife. Yeah. And most importantly, serving my God. Nda nafanya outreach zangu huko. Naingia hapo na jet yangu nikijiendesha. Maisha polite. You know, like, me, that is all I want in life. Like, arastakangi. Like, I don't even have those ambitions. Me, it's just have a comfortable life. Please God and have a good family.
How many kids do you have?
2.
A boy and a girl?
2 boys.
2 boys.
Yeah.
Let's describe this woman because you still haven't gotten her. What qualities do you want her to have?
No, I think look, I don't have like a textbook. You know, let me tell you what I've realized. You know, the Bible says, I said this somewhere else, Juicy, a good wife does not come from you. You know, she comes from God. So even having standards is pointless. What you need to do is you just need to align with God. Nowadays when I pray, I normally tell God, thank you for everything, Nini, thank you even for the recovery, for the comeback and everything. You're doing great things. When it comes to marriage, I normally tell God, at your own pace, whoever you will feel is right. Because you can come up with a very bad rap sheet. Nataka badi, bro, figure, Nini. But she can come to your life and turn it upside down. Maybe because, you know, maybe she might be a good girl, but your values don't fit. And I saw that last year. You're dating, I had 2 major relationships, but the relationships did not end because either of the party cheated. It's just because values and the way we view life don't align. Doesn't mean that the other person is bad or the other person is evil. And I look back even to my older relationship and realize, okay, apart from me having my own issues, even these women, it's not that they were perfect, but values hazialign. Lazima upate mtu mwenye destiny zenu zina, it is God who has ordained. So nowadays I just tell God, look for a good fit. But above all, she must fear God. Because now if somebody doesn't fear God, hiyo ni pointless. But nowadays I don't even dictate.
So if God brings you someone who's doesn't fear God, because we've seen relationships that,
No, God can't. Because you see, God is a God of order.
And then somebody's testimony is that God brought this person who is saved to them. And that's why they got saved 20 years later.
Okay, there's always that angle. But you see, kuna element ya, like, Mungu pia kupatiangi homework mingi. Remember about the destiny. You see, ukiangalia destiny yako, God probably knows you don't have time to start converting someone from scratch. He knows what he has entrusted with you. You also need to understand that before God brings an assistant or someone to assist you in your life, because maybe believe a wife is probably your primary assistant. Like, huo ni mtu mwenye yani anafaa kushikilia vision yako even in places where sometimes wewe mwenyewe tu unapotea. I've seen that with men where you hear someone and out of course, but the wife sometimes come in anashikilia. I believe that number 1, hafai kuwa mtu anakuja kuderail course yako. It must be someone who will not be a distraction. You get the point? And I believe the heavier your mission is, I don't even think God will fumble and bring you someone wa kubahatisha naye. Sometimes God mtatakupatia mtu mnaweza bahatisha juu maybe point yenye huko bado vision yako, yani kitu kazi unaentrustiwa si mingi. God is like, you'll figure yourself. Ndawapatia 5 years, I know mta figure out. But I think there are certain people, me especially look at myself, I'm like, the sort of problems I deal with on a daily, the sort of crises I've dealt with, not many women would have handled. So you need someone with a higher spiritual understanding to understand that some of the battles I fight, hata si zangu, they are beyond. Like ni vita, hapa kuna vita napigana, me know the battles I'm fighting for an entire generation. Not necessarily, zingine si zangu, kwa box. Like there are things, there are times I even question God. I'm like, hey bana, why do I have to? But you just get this revelation that because you're not the only one who might benefit. If you make it, you're probably going to help a lot of people to make it. And we've seen it happen. There are people who've, like, if you look at what Elon did, maybe a Tesla, there are a lot of new electric car companies that came into the market. Why? Because Elon alifungua your floodgate. If you look at companies like BYD, Elon, probably BYD takes a lot and banks a lot on what the research, the mistakes that Elon has done. They might overtake him, but unaget Elon ndiye alikuwa the founder, and and you see, that's why we call ourselves founders. Because you're founding a new idea. You get? He is a black kid trying to sell airliners. It's never been done before. Nobody has ever done it. If you do it, bro, you are opening doors for another 20 kufanya hiyo kitu. If they succeed, huoni ni generation mzima ina rise. So we are building a new generation that does not have to be stuck. Unaona zile limitations za wazazi wetu? We are breaking those limitations. And it's not easy. So you need a woman who understands the sort of spiritual battles you're fighting. Asikuje kwa life yako anze kukuvuruta nyuma. Cause haelewi.
Anaweza kuwa at the same level na wewe ama
anaweza kuwa, the whole point is the sponsor the spiritual aspect. When I didn't know God, or when I was small, I would have gotten maybe a woman who also didn't know God, or maybe a girl who's born hapo, yani, like kuna ile point yenye mnaweza shapeniana. But from what I've understood, my own understanding of life is the older you become and the more God entrusts in you, hataki you fuck up. So even if he's connecting you to people, there's a lot at stake, so you can't fuck up. Let me there's a joke we normally say in flying that when you start flying as a fresh pilot, you operate on luck. Unasikianga, hey bro, leo nimefanya blanda, nilitake off, sikuwa nimefunga nini ya mafuta poa. So nimeland, nikapata mafuta mob ilileak. Hey, but you didn't die, cause luck yako iko hapa. Now as you grow older, your luck starts to run out. Now what keeps you alive is experience, now common sense. Now I'm not going to get lucky again. So every time before you do a flight, there's a voice telling you, nakumukanga ukiwa first year uli take off na huko umefunga mlango vizuri.
It's called beginner's luck.
Sasa check. So you see, it's the same thing. So there are things I've fumbled in the past 10 years. And I walked. That's got free. Even God was like, okay, I won't even punish you. But now at the level that I'm operating at, we cannot afford fuckery, for lack of a better word. Like God is telling you, hapa kwenye uko ni critical sana. And God knows, lazima akupie na dem mwenye anaelewa the criticalness of it. So he'll even let you like have fumbled relationships. It is fine. You know, we have a society that judges a lot, but we all forget that we're all doing life for the first time. It is fine to make mistakes. Sasa, based on the mistakes I made last year in business and relationships, those are the things that make you wiser. So if God could have entrusted you with $1 billion last year, I mean, umepata akili, now he'll give you 100B. Because he knows you're not going to fuck around. And if you fuck up, trust me, now recovery becomes very hard. Because now you've already been elevated and now the stakes are high.
Where did you learn this from?
Some of these things, I think you kind of look at them in the Bible, because some of these stories, you can see them in the Bible. Look at the story of David. You know, there's one time David saw a baddie bathing.
you resonate with David's
story.
story.
I really like David's story. Because I look at David's story in the sense that when David started killing, when David killed Goliath, though David was a very small boy. So I love his story in the Bible because we see David maturing up to the point when David is dying, like ako set, but ndo afike that level. And you see, the Bible says that David had a heart that was after God. But do you think David had it easy? David did blunders. And I want you to understand one thing. At the higher level, ukiangalia zile blunder David alifanya akiwa, let's say, younger, the punishments were not that severe. But as he became older, like when he slept with that body, you know, God told him, like, God gave him options. It was like, I'll punish you. So, how are you, my boy? But I have to punish you. You get? And the punishment was not easy. You know, having to lose your son sleeping with your wives. I mean, that is like, you know, these are the things that people... So, from what I gather with David's story is, it's fine to be God's friend, but don't fuck up. Because there'll be consequences. So you have to, understand whatever you're being given.
How do you hear God's voice? How does God talk to you?
No, Mimi, sometimes it even comes as a conviction. Sometimes it will be dreams.
Yeah.
Their dreams there's so many things I've seen in dreams and they come to pass. Like, mi onyesho vitu and they literally come to pass. Like, there are things I'm living through today and nilionyesho kitambo sana. Like, let me tell you, history ya the artist, TID. The video where he's flying the plane. The plane was a caravan. The first ever plane Jetman ever almost bought, that transaction didn't go through. But we had secured funding. But the transaction didn't go through. It was a caravan. You see these patterns, eh? And na sometimes, vitu zingine, if you ask me at 2018, where I was writing notes for this company, I was stupid at that point. I just gonna do basics of flying, but I think I was writing notes. Some things are divine. Now you only get to hear some of these voices if you align with God. Like you have to be very careful. Like you have to align with God. Don't step out of His way. And what happens is, the more you understand God, the thinner the way becomes. When you don't know God, God is very lenient. But the more you understand Him, now He assumes that you know these things.
Wow. So let's go to last year. You've really set a good preamble to bring us to your problems. At this point, you're cruising well. Things are looking good. Your business is looking good. You're aspirational to be a pilot soon. You're selling jets. You're seeing the dots starting to connect from your childhood, things you saw, and you're like, I'm making it. You're even becoming celibate. You're in Jamaica, you're seeing a couple, and you're like, you know what, I need to start getting serious about women, right? Where do you think you went wrong? What happened?
Looking at it, I think it was bound to happen. It had to happen. There's no other way around it. Because I assess my life right now. I've never been this peaceful. It had to happen. Because I was carrying a lot of baggage. And I think I had a lot of scores to settle with people. And I think before God takes you to the next level, He has to give you a season where everything has to go south. He has to break you. So it had to happen. Because mi naangalianga situation yangu, even you know sometimes I look at people, like, you even see people fighting you, like, you people are fighting me, and you don't understand that this is even beyond me. It's beyond you. There's a chess master allowing these things to happen. Because I'll tell you something. I keep telling people, 2024 is our last year, but we still delivered 300 cars. Like, I want you to get that scope. 300 cars is not a small number. That's a crazy number. But I also realized that some of the people who caused me the most pain were always, ni watu tu tulikuwa nao. I saw the signs even from 2022. And I made mistakes. And there were warnings with these mistakes. There's that feeling, you're like, this person will fuck me up. Hii procedure itakuja kutu mess. Being too nice to clients will also mess you up. So there are very many mistakes we made. And I think just God allowed things to go as south as they could go. Because I also needed that season, number one, to toughen my faith up. Now I think I have a deeper relationship with God. So even if you took away everything from me, even if you jail me tomorrow, like me, like Nico too, like I don't care. Not that I'm not scared, but I'm like my heart is so much at peace. I'm so easy, and that's why you see, Sayara to struggle, like vitu tu zinajialign. Like there are just things that are aligning, and sisi sema ati ni nguvu yangu. All these recovery things you're seeing us doing, I wouldn't say it's my strength.
Everything you're speaking about is in hindsight.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But I know that because we do have an international audience, there are people who are meeting you for the very first time.
Yeah.
We've just gotten to really understand who the person you are. What happened? Let's start from the day you got arrested, because that's the day, for a lot of people, that's the first time they were interacting with your problems.
So our problems started last year, and they started in a very innocent sort of way. Very innocent, because what happened was we've been in the shipping business for quite a while. I've been shipping cars from 2018. Shipped very many cars, probably in the hundreds. And last year we had a very minor dispute with one of my suppliers in Japan. We had quite a number of suppliers. And what happened was, some cars got delivered, but clients defaulted. So
defaulted meaning they didn't pay for the cars?
Yeah. We delivered cars because we normally had we had these. So what I normally used to do is I could tell you, like, look, you want a car worth, let's say, 10 million. Pay 4 million, I'll deliver the vehicle. Let it get to the port and you'll clear my debt. Yes, and at one point we ordered like 4 or 5 cars, and all those clients delivered. This is after the Gen Z protest, by the way.
Okay.
You remember the economy, like, kind of. So we had these clients default. So what happens is, if these cars have not been paid for. So remember the other clients who are paying like maybe 100% or, you know, like they've fully cleared. But when we are transacting in Japan, they don't know anybody. They just know this is Cairo. We will ship cars to Cairo because Cairo always pays. Like Cairo is a good, we've done business with him. So when these motis came, zenye zilifika, bro, these guys were like, Japan was like, we won't release the documents because you need to pay for the earlier batch. So we're in the process of trying to look for money. So at that particular point, we were expecting about $1 million from an investor. So we were like, okay, it's ido itaingia and we will to offset. It's not really a big deal. The money did not come through. So now we are exposed. We have cars in port that we cannot sell because the owners have not wameshindwa kulipa for whatever reason. And we are, based on our contract, we are supposed to hold those cars as security. Na zingine zenye clients walikuwa wamelipa in full, our main supplier has refused to the documents because now kuna nini, because now kuna like they're like hii batch ya kwanza ijalipwa. So as we are trying to sort, now this is where things went completely south. So now that is a small cash flow problem, maybe 10 million, maybe 20 million, we can sort it. What fucked everything up was a client who decides, you know what, these guys have delayed. Take note, their vehicle is in the port, it's registered, it's under their name, registered fully, it's under their name, logbook hata iko hapo, gari iko hapo.
Yeah.
These guys decide, acha tuanikiwe mse online.
Oh.
Let me tell you, kwa box. In September, you know, much as hizi gari zimekwama, a week or two, it is not unheard of, zinakwamanga. Because you know, we are still sold. When these guys went online, it's like bloggers were waiting. Coordinated attack. Members of my staff are leaking screenshots.
What?
Yes. So mi niko home, natumiwa screenshot. A supplier in the UK now, tukiwa na hizo exchange zetu kwa group, imelikiwa online.
Oh man.
We lost orders worth 40 million in September alone. Yeah. So, no cash flow.
At this point when, you know, you've been dealing with this thing and you know that, okay, now, like you said, we're exposed.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I know that you knew that things were going to get hot.
Yeah.
But had you anticipated this level of exposure?
No. Because we were like, okay, look, things are going to get hot. We'll get money. We'll just... You see, these are normal problems in business. Mara mingi, you just run to the bank. They give you a loan. You fill up, you plug up the hole. You do business kidogo. But now, there's a coordinated attack from some members of the staff. There are people we had fired in July for engaging in what I can just call fraud. So now they're leaking information. They're calling some of our suppliers and telling them, don't give these guys cars. They're having financial issues. So now we are not getting supplied with cars. You have another team online that is doing an awesome job, calling us thieves, calling us conmen.
Yeah.
So orders are getting cancelled left, right, and center.
I do remember seeing blogs calling you a con man.
Yes. You think blogs will call you a con man Evo too?
And at this point, like when you knew things were about to hit the fan, you know,
you don't know that things are about to hit the fan. We are in business. You see, business ni risk. Risk ni nini? Ni kujua, okay, things can go south, but we will find a way. Hata sahi ukiniuliza bedhe, how are you still here? How are you still operating? I'm like, see, you know, God will always provide a way. And he has.
But did you when you're talking to these clients who are soon going to expose you, were you getting the inclination that, all right, these ones, it's getting hot?
No, here's the thing. One client sometimes is all it takes to ruin everything. Let me... I think I cannot talk about this because this matter was... So these guys who the moti imefika Mombasa, it has a logbook fully registered. So basically hata ingekuwa worst case scenario, if they'd have just waited for another 1 week, we'd have chomoed, because we have these disputes with suppliers. Every company has commercial disputes with suppliers. So bloggers have taken the story. So they've gone online. Now they've opened a door. So now we are getting hammered left, right by the blogs. Customer trust eroded. So hata ule mtu angekupatia pesa, what do? They hold.
Yeah.
So what happens now? You run in a behemoth. This is a showroom. This is an entity with like three showrooms. Kiambu Road, Diamond, Westy. Ampati orders. Remember, much as I say easy nini, much as I saw in the online orders were cancelled, there are other orders that were coming. But now you don't have money. Because now you've lost business. So we try to maneuver, and then some suppliers in the midst, like one guy in the UK, guy decides to go rogue. We've paid fully for one vehicle. He refuses to release documents. He's like, I know people are going down, so even the one that you've paid for, stawapatia documents.
What?
Yeah. These are people I've done business with for 5-6 years. Mina kwambia kwa mboka vitu nimejionea. The people leaking screenshots online and working with bloggers are people I trained from scratch. From like literally ni mtu yani like ni mtu umechukua, umemonyesha kazi, umemfunza ni aje. This is how you do an info. This is how you do a sale agreement. And the people leaking screenshots to bloggers, exposing everything that is happening in the company to your rivals. Take note, if you're running a company as good as ours, do you think everybody in the industry is happy? Do you think your competitors are happy? Of course they are not. Si wanaona umse is taking our business. So we are hated because we are disruptive, because we are taking clientele, because they see the potential. Fast forward, December. September still, So there's one client. So this guy has ordered a Moti worth 11 mic. This guy has only paid for mic. He sees all the stories going online. You know what he decides to do? He decides to go to DCI. Say that we've scammed him. He's not paid fully for the car, but he's the first guy to rush to the cops. So what do the other clients do when this guy goes to the cops? He's literally now opened the doors. Cut the long story short, December. Now let me tell you, police don't have any role in commercial disputes.
True.
There's a reason why Kenya has civil courts. I've been in business. I have statements. I can prove. I've delivered like hundreds of cars. I'm not a criminal. If over 1 billion has gone through my accounts, let's say in 1 year, do you think I'd be a thief to only steal 10 million? Si tungekuwa tunaongea nimeibia watu 800 million. But this is a dispute. This is a commercial dispute. Hata ukicombine hizo nini zote, it's probably like 20. So these are things that can be handled in a civil platform. But somebody is using now DCI, and this is something that a lot of businessmen are suffering through in Kenya. Let me just say it, because then it will go viral. Police are being used to enforce commercial disputes. Unapata like transaction inafaa kwa huu ni mtu wa biashara na mtu na maybe there's a problem ya nini. There's a system in the legal system that can be. But if a guy goes to DCI, pays the coppers, they start frustrating you. So I get arrested in DEC.
And where exactly were you when you were getting arrested?
No, actually they arrest my staff.
In the office?
Yes, but they arrest my staff to make me, like, just to put pressure on me. I go to the station, I take myself, I tell them, if my staff are sleeping in this police station, I will also sleep here. So they allow me to sleep. Again, bloggers, the story gets leaked. Sasi bloggers wamepata content.
So wait, you took yourself to the police station?
I took myself to
and said, I'm going to stay here with my...
Yes, they arrested 2 of my... I took myself to Kasarani and I told them, put me in the cell. Yes. I told them, put me in the cell.
And what were they charging you for?
So I tell them, you guys won't take me to court for saying that we've... they couldn't even charge me with obtaining. They charged me with such a vague charge that's called cheating. Cheating, using fraudulent tricks, nini. Like it's such a vague, there are those things it's such a vague whatever. So
it's open to interpretation.
Yeah, like it's basically open to interpretation. So the customer guys are like, okay. So I tell this client, look, you've arrested my stuff. I have 2 very expensive cars in Mombasa. I have vehicle X and I have vehicle Y. Take them. Take them as security. You look for money elsewhere. I've given you those cars. And I gave him the cars. So Kasarani released me. So now, that arrest has again worsened things. Yani, we are basically trying to recover story menini. You remember the guy from September, uko nyuma? The 4 million guy with like a car worth 11 million. This chap, the cops are still on my case. In January, I just said, fuck it. Oh, before we go to that point. So January, I realized, so DEC, holiday, it gave me a very good time to sit back and reflect. So I started engaging investors because now I still have contacts in the US. Like I know very good, like the company is doing well. If a company is doing well, unanga hata kazi ya kutafuta na investors. Because like you can either take a loan or something. So I start talking to investors. Aya, kidogo investors are interested. Sawa? So investors tell me, I have that email. Let's do a Kazoom. Where tupigie nini yako? Tupigie like your pitch. Pitch is good. Aha, okay. So unaweza kuja New York? Naweza come. Lini? January. So ile pesa nimebakisha. So I now try to control itangwaje. Like I have to control now my investor in some investors in itangwaje place in New York. So I'm getting a flight ticket nini. So niko very sure that Jan imefika. And I actually call my client. I tell them, look, I call quite a number of them. I tell them, look, I know we have delayed this moti, but I'm flying out to New York. I'm going to New York because we have to look for money. Because now we've been left in a very exposed position. Si kupenda kwetu. Like it's a cocktail of bad things happening. So just give us, time to sort the issue. So I'm supposed to fly to New York Kedo 16th hapo mid-January. So I have some money in my NCBA. So I normally ride my motorbike. I was going to New York on a Sunday. It's a Sato. In fact, I was even kind enough to call Kasarani police station because they had put a stop order on me. I called the Kasarani. They were like, okay. They wrote to immigration and told immigration we had put a stop order on this guy, but he has explained that he has a US company. He's going to try and raise money with that US company to come and offset his problems and elena biashara. And they write to immigration. And immigration is like, okay, sawa, he can travel. Sato, niko hii place inaitangwaje, niko Junction. I've just come from riding my Nduthis. Bro. Aingia kwa parking, an Outback pulls back behind me. You remember that couple whose car ilifikanga Mombasa, we had registered, we had done everything. So it turns out one of them, the relative, is a very senior officer. So I get arrested. But now, as this Chile is arresting me, she's taking videos and sending to bloggers. You remember Niko interrogation room? Do you know how connected you have to be that someone is in interrogation room, you're there recording using your phone? What is that if it's not malice? Anyway, to cut the long story short, I literally told them, I showed them, this is my phone. This is my flight ticket. Kesho, nafaa kuwa New York. Because Monday, I have a meeting. Trying to meet, like, I've spoken to my contacts because I have a lot of contacts in the investors world. And I know, like, New York, even raising, like, even $1 million, that's like, hiyo ni petty. Hiyo ni pesa petty, So, like, I can even try and go, hata nikipata even ka 300k US, this will itakuja ita alleviate mambo. Do you know I showed these guys the receipts? They said, where tunataka kutoroka we ni mkora. And I got so pissed. So like, I was so fucking pissed. I was like, you know what, by the way, you guys can fuck off, take me to court. Yeah, and I went to court. These guys, we come to court. You know, they tell the judge that he was running away to the US. Even if it was in the public domain. Yes. And the prosecution sides with them. Yes, he was running away. He's a criminal. Umse alikuwa anatoroka. Court gives me cash bill of... Because now the clients come. Another client comes, so the cases are now too. So your story may samba online. Everybody's talking about it. I want you to take note that majority of my clients never went to court. Like, I want to tell you, like, majority of people we had issues with, and minority tukiwa sort. Never went, like, ni watu, like, iko hivi na hivi tunasort. Because some of the clients, like, I dealt with, ni watu, I've sold them, like, 4 cars, 5 cars. So, they know mtu ni issues tu wako nazo. Bro, you know me, I go to court, I'm given cash bill of 2 mic. And my passport is taken away.
And that puts a proper spanner in the works.
Bro, now I can't raise money. Okay, the person umtu anakudai pesa hata make sure ameweka videos TikTok. Now how are you going to make money? You really want me to pay back your money? Let's assume you like literally hata I'm sure, bro, the car is literally in the port. It's reading your name. We've done the registration. Ni dispute tuko nao na supplier. Like ni kitu tu, if you'd have been just a little bit patient, tunge control kitu. It's like, no, you're a thief, you're a criminal, you're everything.
And at this point, how long had the person been waiting for?
You know, before these guys went online, how long they had waited for that moti? Less than 2 weeks. Or ataka kulikuwa na delay, ikupita 3 weeks. 2 weeks, clearing takes like a week. So a 2-week delay is not the end of life. Na unaona vizuri kwa system, like the guy is trading you. Bro.
But had you communicated this?
Yes.
That it could delay 2
yes,
weeks?
No. We're like niambianiaje, like just chill. I'm really trying to sort this issue. But another fault is, turns out some of my staff are also inciting clients.
Oh no.
When it rains, it pours. Uko huku na firefight. Sa mimi niko home, I'm making calls, nini, I'm trying to talk to my mom. Nisele na door hapa, nisele na kaa 3 mic hapa, nini. I expect that my staff wako on the forefront kufanya nini kunidefend, because these things happen. Let me tell you minor. Later on ndio clients wanakuja kuniambia sasa hii mwaka zenye mambo imeanza kuwa fiti. By the way bro, watu wako pia wali to insight. Kwa box people are evil. Every money I was making, the reason Kawangware grew so fast is because every money I used to make, like even if we closed like let's say 3 million this month, yote wa kampuni. And that's why like place mimi nilikuwa naishi 3 years ago, before Kawangware became big. Still the same place I live. Like me lifestyle yangu is still, hata sasa nikiwa na hizi mashida, I still drive the same car, I still live in the same place. Grace ya Mungu, una get, like si ati ni kujielevate or anything. Anyway, to cut the long story short, again another client goes to the cops and 2 more. So now like bro, unajipata now like you like now it's, for once I was even depressed. Like you wake up, you unashindwa watu wanzie wapi. But let me tell you something. Amidst all this, I lost so many people. But I made some of my best allies, the guys I look at. Sai, nasemanga wewe yaki, Mungu anibariki tu. You look at a guy, you're like, I know you have this company nina kukula kichwa. Aki Mungu akifanya blanda nipatie pesa mingi, I'm probably investing I don't know how many millions in your company. Because I realized who my realest friends were. You get? Now, time hata napeleko jela, by the way, now that even comes later. I literally, like, and mimi, I'm not afraid to say it, because again, this is in the public domain. Hata mimi kwenda, like, kwenda nini remand, it was not fair. And this is something that I've even said in court, and it is the subject of a court case hata sahi. Yes. Because we even did a recusal application, and I said, the magistrate in handling this case, it was not fair.
Do you think they were biased?
Yes. I pleaded. I told her, manze banadhi ni kitu ya biashara. Like, na hata she didn't give me, the actually people who reviewed my bail terms was another court and the High Court. So like I've seen God's grace. When I was in prison, me knew what I mean kwa na John Misha. I knew like I knew God was with me, but I was like, hey, recovery hapa. I even wrote an email to all my clients and I told them, I've tried everything in my capability. Hata kama ni kuwalipa, give me at least a year. Like hapa, bro, place yenye tuko, this is tough. Now I'm fighting for my own survival. Because prison itself is a place that will kill you. Easily. I got very sick. When I came out of prison, I don't share this story, but I went to hospital after I broke my hand on a motor, and the guys told me, bro, you're dying. You have such a bad infection.
A blood infection?
Yes, I left prison with a very bad infection that I never treated. Because, you know, I left prison, I didn't rest. Niliachiliwa kama jana, leo I'm negotiating with the landlord, bana we, tufungulie ofisi bana, tunataka kurudi tukulipe do yako. So I never took a break. By the time I'm falling off this bike, because the motorbike for me is my only hobby. If I'm not flying, like weekend ikisha kazi jendesha pikipiki ama sija fly. Like hizo adrenaline levels na accumulate toxic levels. So that day, remember, I fell off my bike and I was easy ma stress to like nilikoendesha bike, then brain yangu motorbikes, you know, your brain drifts off the beat kidogo chini. So when I go to hospital, they do a surgery. They put a chuma. You remember the same court that denied me bond? Nikiwa hosi, literally going through surgery, I couldn't show up in court. They issued an arrest warrant. He needs to come back to jail. I'm not making this shit up. I had to come back to court. Nikiwa na plaster. Until now, these are the court bana. Because now the person who even issued the arrest warrant, hayuko. So literally, hata nikiwa hosi, literally, naeza shikwa tena.
Like they're in the hospital?
Yeah. Because like my lawyer goes and tells these guys, like this guy had a bad accident over the weekend. Amevunjika mkono, he has a fracture. Like, no, his documents ni fake. Arrest warrant issued.
And this is when you had already been inside?
Yes.
And now you're dealing
literally,
with the case?
Yes. And you know, even like, my lawyer's like, you know what? It's too much. So we did an application for the recusal of the said judicial officer. It's still in court even right now. And unless it's one of those matters, I can't even sort out with you. You see, there's matters that you can't even, because you see now we've started sorting, like actually tumeenda tukisort clients wetu wote tujabakisha like a huge percentage. We've done like quite, actually God has been so faithful. Nikikwambia like the sort of like I even went to Japan, fixed up my issues with the suppliers, like, you know, things are now good, but that one specific matter, literally can't even sort out the person who took you to that place, because you feel that it's so biased. So you first have to fight. Kwanza mtoke hapo, you go to a place where you feel is neutral. And why am I speaking about these things? Kwambox, these are things that Kenyan businessmen go through. Nobody talks about it. You just see people walking huku. People have gone through things in business. You get? So, but I'm in hospital. Anyway, you know, the doctor tells me, much as you wanted to go home today, we'll hold you for another 2 days. Why? Bro, you have a nasty infection. Like, how
From
are you
prison?
Yes, like, how are you even surviving?
Damn.
Like, your white blood cell count is so high. And I remember there was a time I even went for a business meeting. I almost collapsed. I literally almost collapsed.
Because you're low on white blood cells.
Like Nico, I'm frail, but the spirit is willing.
Let me ask you, okay, sorry to digress.
Yeah.
And I've never been to prison yet. We live in a government right now where anybody can make it.
Yeah.
Right? Was it like anything you expected?
I expected it to be far much worse.
So you went in there with already it's going to be worse.
I went in with the attitude that I could die. This is now do. And let me tell you, and sometimes, you know, I just look at it and I'm like, people are evil. People are like, I just look at the world and you look at some of the deals that some of the clients who are like who have given me like the worst. let me shock you. In most cases, some had not even completed paying for their cars. This is the flip side. And it just goes to tell you, one business lesson I've gotten, stick to your terms. Usikue Santa Claus kwa biashara. Kwa Box, kama transaction unafaa kulipa. Kama deal ni ulipe 1 million. We lipa 1 million. Usijaribu kusaidia mtu. Because when things go south, some of the people who will put stops to ensure that they fuck you up are the people you are literally trying to help. People will do anything for your reputation. Let me tell you. You remember this story in Likushow, like we delivered a moti, nini, and the registration had been done. Flip. So we cleared the case in court. It's done. So I tell this client, now we've paid you, but your car still reads our car now still reads your name. Transfer it back to us. Refuses. So now I'm going back to court to go after my I literally want to show you that when you do deals, please don't do them out of desperation. You would rather, and I'm starting to understand a lesson. You've ever seen why some places are just exclusive? Do you know, my business idea has really changed. You would rather have a restaurant that has 50 people instead of 5,000. And I now understand why some places huanga zinakuwa deemed. You remember tukianza hii convention tulikuwa tunasema hiyo festival ilikuwa, I won't mention which one, but you couldn't see it anywhere on social media. That's a powerful lesson I've learned. You would rather deal with a very small niche or just have an automated service than trying to solve people's problems. Because when something goes wrong, the same people that you're trying to put stops for to impress with your service are the same people who might be the first ones to drag you down.
You know, when you're talking, and I'm sure my audience can tell, that when we talked about everything else, even when you were telling us about being spiritual, God, breakups, you are not as this issue pains you.
No, it does. You look at it. The cases I'm we've even done a recusal application. This client had the guts to call me. And he's like, I'll put all stops to put you to jail if you don't pay my money. I'm a very diplomatic person, but I almost insulted her. Because Nikozile is I could have died in prison. What would you have gained? You've gone every single place to tarnish my reputation. But somehow you still want me to pay you. I will. But the day that I kama hiyo siku nilimalizananga na hawa say the guy is now the DCI nini guy. Ayo wamekata to do the transfer back. I slept like a baby. I felt like just an evil sort of presence had been removed. As in, I was like, whew. And one of the clients called me and I was trying to explain to them, I was like, I'm so happy because nimemalizana na watu. Because these people, if atungemalizana na watu, hata nyinyi, these are, I've seen human beings from an angle that I did not know existed. You get the point? So sometimes you look, manzi unaangalia where the world is not a good place. And what it has done, it may introduce a certain fear that I did not have.
Which is?
Me, I never feared people. But nowadays, I'm very wary of people. Do you know there are deals I see and I leave? The moment intuition yangu inaniambia niaje, hii deal wachana nayo. Mi kitambo I was Mr. Fix-It. Ati unasema unataka gari ya 6 mic na uko na 1 mic. But banki yako inaweza kufinance. Mi nitakuletea welcome. Si itajua kwenye doita. Si doita kama mtu tutasort. We! Sasa hii ni the guy is 6 million. Minimum is 4 million. If you don't want to pay me, here's the account in Japan. Just do the deposit. I don't even touch your money. Just do it.
These are very powerful lessons to learn at 28.
Bro, like mimi sahi ukiniuliza mambo nataka even with like I've unlocked a certain coldness ya biashara that I didn't have. Like I'm no longer Mr. Nice Guy. How much is your plane? We are leasing it at 300. Can we do bro, it's 300. Sija ku overcharge. This is the margin. If you're paying, it's fine. If you're not, it's fine. Thank you. I have to attend to other clients. No more Mr. Nice Guy.
No more
Because
Mr. Nice Guy.
because God has shown me. I think what God wanted to show me was people, when given the window, can and will destroy you. Not everybody is as nice as you are. Like, nataka ujeke in your situation, like, a matter has been dismissed by a court, a settlement has been reached, but someone is still holding on to your asset. The same asset that you are banking on, ulikuwa unajua, hii tukitoa hivi nirudishiwe hii gari, I'll just go to my bank, put a logbook, get like 4 milli, sort like 5 more people tumalize. Amish click. Uko like, bro, like, you know, and then God is like, but nimeishi kukuambia. And you know, my mom used to tell me, my mom used to tell me when I was a small boy, Inkiku, Kairo, tiadwa the, onaona do magetheki atega. Like, ukiona watu wakikuchekesha, they are not good.
Not everyone that's laughing
Yes.
is laughing
So
with
I've
you.
learned, and then forget even about business. Come to the personal side. Let me tell you, Kwambox, mimi there are people in this life. Tungesema kesho tunafaa kuswim kutoka Mombasa tupige hadi Madagascar. For my boy, I would have done it. I would literally leave my things, not run in enda kwa sort. When I was in prison, Sam never showed up, never called. Wengine naanza kuona ndio wanaanza kunitafuta. Other things are good.
Would you forgive?
Imagine hata sinanga hard feelings. Hata nilishawasamee. The only thing is that I'm now wiser. Now you can't access me. Don't be bitter with anybody. Just understand that when you are at your lowest, they did not reach out. So when they are at their lowest, you should not reach out. If they reach out now, this is where now the good Christian comes in. If they reach out to you, don't revenge. Kama unafaa kuwasaidia, you help them. But at the back of your mind, God has already shown you. Na ndo nakwambia, Kwambox, what I have gone through is such a powerful lesson that I needed. Even in taking risks, mitigating risk as a businessman. Because now God shows you, bro, it can get cold. Why? Juu levels pia tunaenda. Kama say now like the car business we've set up in the US. Now the US justice system, see ya Kenya. Now that one is colder. That one is serious.
But I don't think you can get a blood infection there.
No, but you can get shanked.
Okay, hata afadhali infection sasa.
Sasa imagine your system. Imagine that system. Sasa ile huko, na that one is. Sasa what is God teaching us? What is the moral of the last? You know God when God tests you, when God teaches you things, hakupeangi manual, he takes you through seasons. Because ukitaka kujua some of these things are divine and it's not you who is controlling. Me, I look at myself right now, I'm like, how the fuck am I even operating? Like, tumetokaje jela April, ni August uko Japan. How? You know, me also ask myself deep questions. Then God is like, si wewe, vitu zingine niachiange, mimi ndio najua cha nakufanya. I know why I'm doing this. I know I had to break you. I know why you have to go. Because now God is telling you the global levels that you're doing. So you've already started doing business with American companies. You're doing your first 2 deals up and up. You're moving to certain levels that you have never dealt. I'm teaching you to always watch your back. Kama ni contracts, protect yourself. I understand why every rich person in Kenya has like an army of lawyers. There are people you mention their names on social media. Unapigo demand letter kama 6. And I understand why. Not that they are bad people, but because society taught them, wewe, sasa zenye kitakurarukia bro, you're on your own. So what do you do? Make peace with your God and be very careful of humans. Don't show, hakuna huruma. EC NGO. Now like I run, even with stuff. Like here at TSG unajaribu zetu, unaweza saidia kila mtu. Wewe, don't. After, like even if you have to help, like let it be, like protect yourself, like have level. Like now I understand why corporates operate as corporates. You see, if you're doing a startup at first, you won't understand why corporates are the way they are. You know, corporates are cold. You know, someone was telling me, you see, Kairo, you know, you think you have problems. A lot of these companies owe even suppliers even billions of shillings. I've never seen them taken to criminal. You are taken to criminal because, number one, you don't know how the system works here. There's a way you would have avoided all these things. How? Oh, you could have done this and this. I'm like, shit, kwani sikuwa najua? Oh, because you did not invest in. You did not have a good legal team. Should have invested in a good legal team. Why? But I'm like, hiyo saa ungeniambia ni invest in a good, ningekwambia, bro, but me I just do straight business. Shida itakuja wapi? Most people suffering in jails at times ni watu wenye who had very good intentions, but if you're not, kama una akili na if you're not spiritually grounded, dunia itakupiga viboko. And I'm happy. Mi nimelipa school fees yangu. Sasa naambia naombanga tu, naambia Mungu sasa nitafutie tu, just open my doors. I've learned my lessons. Nikuwe tu nakaa mahali na kunywa cocktail yangu na mtu wangu na relax, taki mambo mob. I've learned very powerful lessons.
Wow. Looking at that scenario, are you at fault in any way?
Yes. I mean, I've made many mistakes. And if I came here and nianze kujifanya I'm very perfect, I'd be lying. You will make mistakes along the way. And that is the beauty about the human experience. You will make mistakes. The problem is sometimes that you can make very innocent mistakes, but the outcome can be very deadly because of the way the system is structured. Let me give you a story. In prison, I met this kid. The boy was 17. So he had sex with a girl who was 16.
Uh-oh.
The parents went and reported the boy and said he had defiled the girl. Do you know this kid has been in limbo for 2 years? You know why? Because somehow the justice system cannot figure out his real age. Kuna file tu, kuna issues, nini. So it's always mention. That boy has wasted over 1 year in prison. So did he make a mistake? No, he did. You see, having sex with this girl, I mean, it was a mistake, innocent mistake. But is the outcome commensurate to the mistake that the boy made? The system is wired in such a way that italaliwa kijana zaidi. Like he's going. Same thing with a lot of businessmen in Kenya. I realize that a lot of people in Kenya who are facing, especially easy charges, are obtained by false. A lot of them, you find that you can be arrested for obtaining simply because of a deal going south. Now, in mature economies, it doesn't happen to businessmen. You know why? Because you can file for bankruptcy, and there's also that avenue in Kenya. But people don't. You understand? Again, in advanced democracies or in advanced countries or in advanced economies, there are safeguards that protect young business people. So you'll go like there's a bank I gave in the US and they were like, your statements are impressive. If you unapitia hizi statements kwa bank yetu, we'd have given you even $1 million. This is nothing. You seem like you have the capability. But did I know? So, because I didn't know, now a mistake has happened in the company. Because disputes will happen. If I come here and say to you and tell you that you will run a company perfectly, I'm lying to you. You'll make mistakes. The problem is that when you make mistakes in Kenya, as a business person,
they can cost you.
Because imagine, imagine ingekufa jela, like they'd have said, hey, Ted, nobody sees the 10 years. You see, this story starts in 2015. You know me, I've never been in court for any car-related offense for 10 years. Nilingia koti this year marango ya kwanza. Imagine 10 years. Do you know how many cars those are?
Do you think you'll ever be in court for
No. I'm too wise. Sai, let me tell you. It's now scaling on a global level. Put in better protections, structuring better agreements, and not favoring any client.
But increasing the risk.
Here's the thing. You can mitigate risk. How do you mitigate risk? You mitigate risk by, number one, not running a company like an NGO. you have to be brutal in business. You're swimming with sharks. If somebody, mimi nakwambia mimi naitwa Kasarani, like watu wangu wameshikwa, instead of looking for a lawyer anajipeleka hata mimi nishikeni. That's being stupid. If I know what I know right now, I'd have probably rushed to the high court, gotten an order and just challenged the whole process. Say like, look, my rights are being infringed. You use the system to fight ninis in the system. If you see that system inakulalia, there are other safeguards within this is even to hata gava or anything. It's just the way the system works. You understand? So nanga hata gava kama gava yenye nenda kufanya kitu koti na kanyaga and they are forced to go to another court. You see, you need to understand this is how the system works. Do you think God will entrust you with a big vision if hajakupatia an experience like this ndio uelewe how the system works? So that next time when he's entrusted, because you will always have people fighting you. You will. Like I sat down with a business that told me like, Kairo knows all these bloggers attacking me. I was like, so what do you think I should have done? The guy tells me, you should have called them, asked them how much they're being paid and doubled the offer. Me, I didn't know. me I'm like maybe you blogger ni personal. Ndio later on nimekuja kurealize hauna kitu personal town. Ukiona unalimwa after the same blog but you see me I'm operating on a self-righteous pedestal. I'm like I'm too good.
One second last question before you now tell us what is the cost of being now from this experience, because I know if I asked you this question in 2013 the answer would have been completely different, but I want you to think about it. That's going to be my last question. What is the cost of being Kairo? Right? Just hold that thought. You've spoken about the betrayal, right? We've spoken about the friends. And you see, the thing about friends and family, they can be for life. But employees?
Let me tell you, I believe there are two schools of thought in business. And I've said this before. There's the mercenary and there's the missionary. Mercenaries are your typical make profit corporation. Let's make profit. That's what drives them. Missionaries are, you know what, we need to solve this problem for humans and then we'll make profits later. In the long run, the missionary wins. I've always operated my business from a missionary perspective. The way I treat my staff, the levels, literally like, I know like levels zangu za kutreatwa say, I'm not bragging or anything. This is based on conversation I've had with people. Like, I treat them well. And I'm not driven by profits. That's why if you look at even the reviews, like, hata na hizi ma stories zote, you can see that a lot of people still have trust in us, reputation-wise. We've not like gone the way people would have assumed it would have gone. Why? Because we put a lot of work in the missionary aspect of things. But something else that this exposure taught me is that a purely missionary approach to business does not work well in low trust environments like Kenya. Now that is my deduction. If you're running a company in maybe somewhere like San Francisco, where it is a system that is based on trust, that a bank will trust you with money, wanajua utatoroka, wanajua utawapatia title fake. A system where you can let employees run accounts, they will not steal. That system works. But in Kenya, which is a low trust system with compromisable, like the justice system can be compromised, the administrative system is also strong, and you can't blame people. It's just the way the country runs. You cannot apply a purely missionary-driven approach. So what is the solution? I see a lot of Kenyan startups incorporating in Dubai, in the Caymans, in places like Singapore, Mauritius, and the US. So you can come up with a hybrid. It's possible to have a team, a hybrid team that kind of like, you're still operating on that missionary approach. Like you're operating a high trust company. But you need to change the structures. You need to buffer yourself very well. That's why I'm talking about having good lawyers, having good checks and balances. But if you run it wazungu style, you'll be messed up. And that's why you see a lot of wazungus coming into Kenya, funding startups, and wasikia kampuni ilipewa $10 million, but you don't see shit. $50 million, you don't, or company inaanguka kwa like, okay, kuanguka si mbaya, but you try to see and then you start seeing, some things are not making sense here. And Kenya has been flagged for that. Why? Because watu wanaoperate na story ya kuomoka, but manze bana, uwezi omoka na 5 years, like just give it time. Juu hata kuomoka Kenya wanaomokanga, si wengi wanafikanga zile levels, you know, like level kama mtu, like all these dollar billionaires wa maju. Hatufiki, why? Cause hii greed itakufikisha tu hapa. But if you're in this for the long term, and if you have a team that thinks on the team inaoperate na hii philosophy, utaenda mbali. But if you have a team that is driven by greed, when you start getting to the top, they're the ones who will eat you, because now they get greedy.
You know, it's such a beautiful place to end this conversation, because there's so many things that I could go on speaking with you for like hours. Your life has really taught you a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who speaks a lot about Kenya and lack of integrity and how this will eventually cost all of us.
It is.
Right? And some people think it's like a future thing that will happen. Even before you came, me and producer were discussing this particular issue on integrity. And I was telling him how in the long run, employers have no trust. So we are operating not as missionaries,
but mercenary.
And not even hybrid, but complete mercenary.
Yeah.
Right? You ask any club owner or any restaurant owner, and people, yes, I know there are people who say, lakini unajua kwa box maze economy ni tough. Sawa, iba kila kitu basi. You know, still from the place where you are employed and you justify it as, I need the money. No, it is you're a thief. That's what is going on. It is that you lack integrity, because, you know, you'll find the same person praying for that job. And then God will answer the prayer.
In fact, as I grow older, I understand why most people remain stagnant.
Why is that? Because,
let me tell you, I've understood God's nature a lot. Because I had very many questions. Wajua kwamba kuna watu wezi saidia? Do you know that?
They're unhelpable.
Yes. Because there are spiritual aspects about them that limit people to help them, like haizi saidika. And unapata mtu kama huyo, and I've seen it. Me, I've touched many lives. I've like tried to help people, but there are people I've given everything, even even to my own extent, and you realize mtu, you can't help them because they self sabotage. Na ndio hiyo hapo. You see, the devil will tell you, still chukua ako kadhatike. But you know what? The same devil who incites, you know, this is like me preaching, who incites you to steal, is the same devil who goes behind your back and tells God, he's a thief. Don't bless him any further. Because the whole master plan ya shetani ni watu wakai at the same level, not why grow. Because people who are frustrated are easier to kill themselves. Ndio wanapatanga wanafanya vitu mbaya na ndio hawakuangi grounded. You get? But on the other side, naye Mungu anakuambia ni aje, just be faithful. Kuwa tu faithful. And he will bless you. Like, so people don't understand that there's also a whole spiritual thing. The moment you steal from your boss, or even steal from your staff, because it cuts both ways. Hamta I grow. Na mimi ndo nakushow sahi, like, sahi na operate na team ya. We had a team of 60. Say I have a team of 6.
Whoa.
Hey. Shed off 90%. But let me tell you something. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Like, I look at this team, I'm like, we will do shit with these guys.
Yeah.
Because I trust them. I'm like, apa zile, like, I'm like, you people have no clue the levels we're headed. Like, I'm not clue. But me, I know. Me, I can see. You know, there are deals you also do. And you're like, yeah, I'm jui deal. Me, na jui deal. And I know what's at stake. But then they have no clue. But I'm like, for your faithfulness, for being real, for standing with me when everybody abandoned me, God will reward you. And we will all grow together. Because every time I tell my guys, like, me, there's no point in niendeshe posha, unaenda home na mat. We need to, like, at least work hard. Hata nunua BMW, mama. Like, it can be. And if you look at the most successful companies on earth, the people who started Google, the first employees, are all billionaires. The Nvidia guys are all billionaires. But saa Kenya ni unakuja sana wewe.
Ni nani anakuja.
And the same thing even with this industry. We don't collaborate hata kwa industry zetu. Even hata hizi ma like radio unapatanga, you know, there's a bit of sabotage. Radio station X inataka kuchukua nani instead of developing their own talent. You see, like me I had this case where kama sasa tukianza recovery, you train a social media person, anashika like 1 or 2 months, then a company poaches them. Then they go there, then now like they lose their potential because people don't realize it's a whole spiritual thing. Pesa, you know, pesa see, it's not like black and white the way people think. There's a whole spiritual science behind it, and people don't really understand that ukianza kuji self sabotage. And this is why, as you now start getting focused, you also want to be celibate. And this is something I keep saying. Like, again, you also need to be very careful who you are allowing into your life, into your house, into your bed. You get? So you have to protect easy. And what are you doing? So the moment you're in sync with God, like, Mungu anakuangalia anasema, he's not perfect, but he's trying. Like, uni mtu wako on the right path, you'll notice doors open. And even when the devil tries to sabotage you, it doesn't work. Because there is no grounds to accuse you. But the moment you're doing bad things to your people, unaiba, una cheat, unafanya hizo vitu zote, you're building bad karma.
I'm almost tempted to ask you what bad karma you built up for you to have this bad luck, but I don't want to ask that.
Yeah.
I want us to get to your final thought. Because I told you that this is not just for us to talk, but a lot of people, you know, aspire to be you. Not to be like you, to be you. Yeah. I'm sure you are someone's prayer point.
Yeah.
Not as a husband, but maybe even as a husband, but as a aki God si unionekanie venye unaonekania Kairo, you know? So even me aki ukinipatia tu nafasi, right? So this is one question I'll always ask my guests. After we've had such an important, and we've gone through your whole life, how would you summarize the cost of being you? Because I believe that for every, and you've kind of spoken about it in the story that you just told us, that every single person, for you to be able to live a certain, you know, what somebody be like, wow, there was a cost that was paid, or there's a cost that's constantly paid.
Yes.
So what is the cost to be Kairo?
Number one, you will be misunderstood. You literally will be misunderstood. And guess what? It's fine. So you need to make peace with that you will be misunderstood. And it's a very hard point to get. Because I even like right now, I know there are clients who will not give me business based on the cases that I've had. Me deep down, like I can't lie, like I will literally lie to myself. I know that we did everything and this was not our intent, and you know, like it was just a bad season in business. But kuna mtu anajua mali wewe ni mtu mbaya and you're evil. And the moment you come to peace with that and it doesn't hurt you, that's total peace. So you also need to put in a lot of work in appeasing God. Appeasing God means that you will not always be on the right. You can never be perfect. You can never attain perfection. But show that consistent effort. And it's not easy. It means sometimes you have to look at things and turn down some things. It means that sometimes you have to take difficult paths of discipline. You have to cut off some things. You understand? You even have to cut off people. Sometimes when people you really love. Because if they're dragging you to a certain direction and unafeel hii energy wanaleta si poa, you have to cut them off, and you love them. You truly love them. You understand? That is discipline. So I'd basically sum it up like trying to live in the footsteps of Jesus, who is God. Like it's not easy. Ni safari ndefu, and it has a lot of, like, you deal with struggles every day. I also ask myself questions. Hii bana, Mungu, hii vita imekuwa mzito, bana itaisha lini? But constantly seeking out God, that is where the secret is. Even amidst your tribulations, even amidst the chaos, you need to stay disciplined. Like me when I was in prison, someone would have said like nikitoka jela naenda kuharibu, naenda kurevenge. But imagine nilitoka and I've still maintained like kama nime celibate vows, I've been like I'm not doing anything. Whether I have money or I don't, I made this vow. I'll not do this. I quit this lifestyle. I don't do this anymore. I don't hang out with that friend. I really loved him, but I don't hang out. I really loved that woman, but I had to cut her off from my life, And it's a very hard thing to do. Have you ever been in a toxic relationship?
I would rather not talk about it, but yes.
Have you ever dated someone wenye unajua huyu mtu, both of you are not cut out for one another, and you're leading each other to you might even end up doing a murder suicide? Have you ever looked at such a relationship?
Well, not murder suicide,
No, but
yes,
I'm just saying,
I get
like
it.
those crazy relationships where, like, and I don't know how it flicks. Inaacha kuwa mapenzi inakuwa like something bad. And maybe there are times in my life where, now forget about these two relationships. Hizo hata hazikuwa like, hazikuenda deep sana. Hizo ilikuwa tu mic testing. Jokes. Goje wane bloggers wakirukia hii story. But anyway, I mean like the hazikuwa zimedevelop at to those levels. But I've been personally in relationships before where you like have to like unaangalia unaona bedhe for the safety of both of you and for the purpose of your growth at this particular point hii kitu yezi work, and you have to like separate yourself from this person, and it's not easy. Sometimes ni none of those painful decisions, or you leave a habit. Let's say it's betting, let's say it's gambling, and you're like no, I can't, like lazima niache. No, you could make those tough decisions. It's something that also stands out because mimi I missed out on so many things. Missed out in quotes. When most of my friends were partying in my early 20s, up 18 to 23, I was working myself off very hard. So kuna vitu nilimiss campus life. Flight school is not as cool as campus. Based on what people I see doing.
Hells yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I see guys doing crazy fun things in uni. So sure. So kuna vitu niliforgo. Those thrills. Hata sahi kuna vitu mingi najinyima. And I'm like, for period X of time, I lazima nijinyime hii ndio so that I'm able to get this. And it's not easy. It's a challenge every day. So to me sum up into God, appeasing God, and discipline. Guarding your spiritual realm. And sometimes wambia Mungu ni aje, if these people have to be really in my life, you are the one to tell me wamechange. But hata wewe, like you realize, coming to that level where you have to cut off friends, it's not easy. I've done it a couple of times, and sometimes unakuwa very close na people and you have to, lazima watoke.
Man, Khalif Kairo, man, I can't wait because I know your story is still unfolding.
Yeah,
we're keen to watch this. I can't wait to see this international stuff that you're going to do.
Yeah,
I can't wait to see how you will deal with, bigger challenges that will come your way and bigger successes. I can't wait to see the next woman you'll be with. Maybe she'll be the one because you mentioned,
Yeah.
But all in all, I just want to say thank you for coming through to share your powerful story.
Thank you.
And being so vulnerable, because at the end of the day, we have to open people's eyes. There's somebody out there who's hopefully learned a thing or two from your experiences.
Yeah.
And I know that there will definitely be a part 2. And I cannot wait for us to sit down,
definitely.
and catch up on all the amazing things that you've been up to.
Yes.
I'm so grateful for you coming through.
Asante.
Guys, remember, kama hauja subscribe bado, hauja hit notification button, nini, please do that. Remember, you are on Boxpod TV. Let your people know, because here we are having conversations that actually uplift, change, and challenge the status quo. All right, we'll catch you on the next interview.